Go, go, go.
What's the? Where's the other one?
I don't know.
No, we
Maybe,
have the one that's late.
maybe. Hey, where's the words on that? I thought I had senior school photos on that picture or something like that. I thought I had those words written on there. They're gone. I haven't heard from Jared. I don't know where he is. Let me check and see. Oh, maybe he's wrestling with baby or something.
Babies.
Babies.
Hope he shows up. 'Cause I don't know how long I can stick around. I got early day tomorrow.
I'm sure he'll show, but I mean, if not, we can cut it early anyway. But there he is. Adding to the stage. Which looks better, us or our AI us?
Yeah, AI. AI hasn't figured out that I'm fat.
Yeah, I was gonna say for Chris, it's kind of sixes, but
My AI looks like Greg Quick there. Cardio Miracle. Try some Cardio Miracle in the church. The church isn't going to
Hey,
go
what's
LGBT, I promise.
what's the? Sorry, hang on. I got too many things pulled up.
What was your question? Can you hear us?
Sorry.
He said he has too many kids.
Oh, he's got too many kids.
No, I have
You
to
can get rid of one or two.
I don't know what the. Yeah, I guess so. Ah, there it is. Jesus Christ! I had so many tabs pulled up, I couldn't figure out where the fucking music was coming from, so I couldn't even hear you. What's the what's the one like product that if I give you $1 million to hawk a product, what's the last one you would sell? Like if
I couldn't sell like those what are those Infinity War video games that I mean those ones can't have anybody clicking through them, right? I mean, is anybody
like Raid Shadow Legends?
Yeah, that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think for me it might be BetterHelp.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's like I'll listen to Dave Smith and I'll be all pumped to listen to what he has to say, and he's like, "Access to therapy has never been easier with BetterHelp." I'm like, "Fuck, I don't trust you now," because that's bullshit. BetterHelp. Every time I get a BetterHelp ad, it's always some chick with a fucking septum ring and like green hair. She's just telling me how I'm valid. Anyway, use code Part of the Problem to get 20% off your first 3 months of BetterHelp.
Yeah, there was one just this week with Brett Cooper. I think Sitch and Adam covered it, where she was covering that new transing stuff that got released. Not the AMA stuff, but there was some other sort of things that might have been from the past when they found some of those universities. And she so seamlessly went from, I can't believe they're doing this to your kids, and that's why you need BetterHelp. BetterHelp is like, and they were just
trained.
Like, what?
No. She was trained by Daily Wire. They do that shit. It's always so annoying. I'll see something pop up in the algorithm, and it's like a 2-minute long Ben Shapiro video, and like 30% of it is him hawking some dumbass product at me, and I'm like, fuck, I don't even want to listen. Okay, just I feel like maybe I'm just not motivated as much by money as a lot of these people, and that sounds like grandstanding. I get it. Like if they had a briefcase full of fucking cash in front of me, I'd probably fold and sell out too, I guess. I don't know. But it would kill me inside every time I have to like hawk some stupid ass coffee brand or what. I really hope I wouldn't. I really have hope for myself that if the briefcase of money where they're like, no, I can't sell BetterHelp. I really can't because it's bullshit.
Yeah, like I could never sell any dietary supplements.
Yeah,
like those. There's a lot of those there. Like I couldn't take money for that, especially the ones that make the big claims. Like if it made no claims, like maybe even then that would be pretty shady. But like I heard Barry talking a dietary supplement. It's like, geez, this stuff is garbage.
They all do.
That's 100% why I'm not in that industry. But okay, here it is. Check this out. Can you hear it?
thing that is certain about the medical industry, it is that they want to make more money off of everything, which is why crowd health is so incredible.
That's funny.
I think let's go like a sentence before it because it's even worse.
It's a much better way to put it. This is not gender affirming. It is literally sterilization. Just putting it out there. If there is one thing that is certain about the medical industry, it is that they want to make more money off of everything, which is why crowd health is so incredible.
That's edited, right? Is that
Yeah, if you put it in, it's just a bad spot to put it in, I think.
There was a little jump cut in there that you could see. It's so stupid because she was trained by the Daily Wire, so she still does all of her ads exactly like they do.
I just remembered.
Like, every time I hear Ben Shapiro do an ad, I'm like, dude, please just don't try to be funny. I would be less angry if you would just read me like in a monotonous voice, the script that they sent you. I'd still be annoyed, but I'd be less annoyed than you being like, "Oh, you trying to cram in all your fruits and veggies in one day? That sounds like a lot of big deal." And for me, since I'm kosher, it's very difficult to keep the gun show going here. You know,
nothing drives me crazier when they call attention to their segue into it, like, where they go, "Oh, I'm going to segue into the thing here. Isn't that a smooth segue? Great segue!"
Well, especially if you get like the backstage where it's all of them talking.
Yeah,
and they
That's
think
a great segue.
I know they think it's a hilarious joke that they're sharing with the rest. like, oh, the audience is gonna eat this up. Like, oh yeah, we do shill for stupid shit we don't believe in. Oh, you got us. You segued.
It is pretty strange. Like any single thing where like somebody's covering a war or something to cut into commercial. Check. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you not hear us?
My thing went out.
All right there.
It's my earphone.
On our show.
Oh, it's his earphones. I guess we got to talk about stuff now. I was thinking about this. So I mentioned it in the chat earlier, but I've been watching. You ever notice how like physiognomy is real? Like, how when you I don't know. Have you ever looked at a woman and been like,
I'm back.
She doesn't have a nose ring. She doesn't have purple hair. Any of that shit. And you can just look at her, the structure of her face, and you can be like, "You're a fucking feminist. I know it."
It really does seem that way.
It does seem that way. And I'm watching this true crime show, right? Killers Caught on Camera, I think is what it is. It's kind of like Forensic Files. You know how in Forensic Files they always do that thing where they have to like bear their testimony of forensics and shit. Like, this case wouldn't have been possible without forensic evidence. It's the same thing in this one. Like, really, CCTV footage, without that, we wouldn't have found this guy who had his wife's bloody clothes in his car and the murder weapon in his hand when he tried to hack up another person in front of a police station. Yeah, you wouldn't have caught him. Sure, whatever. But bear your testimony and let's get it out of the way. But I'm watching this one, and it's this woman. She looks like the crazy woman Tucker Carlson used to have on to defend the most insane liberal positions.
Oh, wait, no. Okay.
and until she was like accused of kidnapping elderly people or something insane like that. But like the eyes are a little bit far apart and a little bit. It's just something about her face. I don't know. I don't know how to explain the physiognomy, but it's fucking real. And I could tell, like, you're gonna ruin this show. We get into the show, and my God, we're like, she said a couple feminist things, but
Wolf. You're talking about Wolf, something Wolf, or the Crowder person. Sorry, or the Tucker person.
Oh yeah, I can't remember her name.
Okay.
If Troy says the septum nose ring through, I'm not. She didn't even have a septum ring. I'm saying this is just face, nothing added to the face. Sometimes you can just look at a face and be like, "This is a face of an insufferable feminist." Anyway. She said a couple insane feminist things. She always tries to add, like, actually, it's a lot rarer that a woman kills people than that a man kills people. I'm like, what?
No way.
But my favorite one so far, it wasn't even her. It was another guy. He's talking about this murder that happened in South Africa. It's 2 college students, guy and a girl. They're friends. I don't think they're dating or anything, but they're driving in a car, having a good time. They go to a gas station and they get their car with them in it. The guys drive around. The whole thing takes like 11 hours. They drive to a secluded spot, beat the shit out of the guy, like force him onto the ground, take a rock and smash it onto his head, drive off. The girl's still with him, and they take her out, rape her. Same thing, big rock smashing onto her head. The guy miraculously survived. He didn't get his head caved in or anything like that. And that's the only reason they caught him. And the moral of the whole story was this guy explaining it actually it garnered a good conversation in South Africa about misogyny and how misogyny. Wait a minute, they tried to cave the guy's head in too.
Yeah.
They weren't success. You think they were a little lackluster about crushing the dude's skull because he's a man? Like, well, I mean, I'd throw this with my full force, but he's not a fucking bitch.
The whole femicide thing is so stupid when they because BBC pushes that, NPR pushes that. You know, we're like, oh, there's a can't think of the word all of a sudden. A plague of femicide. It's like, no, there's like, it's pretty ordinary that domestic violence happens sometimes.
Plus, I was told that crime was down everywhere. So, what are you talking about?
But we're talking about embarrassing, the radio thing, the people hawking stuff. I'll never forget years ago. It was many years ago, back when I was listening to Christian talk radio, and I was listening to. They were talking about. They were doing the whole "do not store up treasures in heaven" thing, and for 10, 15-minute segment, they're talking about that whatever that passage is, and like, oh, isn't that important? Like, yeah, we shouldn't think about wealth and materialism and stuff like that. We have to think about the important Jesus-y stuff. And like, all right, now we're going to break. And the first ad was buy gold.
Yeah. I was going to say the same one because Dave Smith does that one. And so frequently he's pontificating on, the horror show of the Gaza and Israel and all that sorts of stuff. And do you even believe in God? Well, just now, guys, you can buy gold. For the short limited time, gold's going down. Just go right into the thing. But I guess everybody's got to do that.
He was selling nicotine sticks the other day. I feel like even if I want, I don't know. I'm like, even if I want the money, even if I'm willing to sell out for some shit coffee brand or fucking BetterHelp, which I hope I wouldn't. Come on, like nicotine sticks. And he's got to do like the whole disclaimer. He's like, by the way, nicotine is an addictive substance. You're selling an addiction, man. Come on.
I don't know. I'd feel fine selling alcohol. That's addictive. But something that's just like a real product, I'd be fine with. It's just a product.
I wouldn't
like,
sell
this
alcohol.
Is food or something. But anything that's kind of like pushing some sort of health angle. And the reason I'm not in the fitness industry, because I'm such a natural gym bro. I'm a gym rat. I'm beyond a gym rat. And I know everything about it and hang out, all that sort of stuff. I can't work in it because I can't go pushing that crap on people, and I knew since forever ago, like I can't go around pushing this crap on people. But if it was just like a product, like I could just sell a product, like here's a beer, buy this beer or something. Like I guess I'm fine with those guys selling coffee. If I just don't like that they like repump it like right in the first minute of each episode. And
it would just feel so cringe to read that ad.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost even more cringe to just like try to shoehorn it in and pretend that it's relevant to the topic.
I think one of the least cringe things to do, but they probably only let him do it because it was Joe Rogan, because I'm sure that they pushed them to do it in different ways. But Joe Rogan just used to front load a show with them, and just like before the show even started, just here's all the ads, But they probably told him that you can't do that unless you're Joe Rogan or something like that. You got to act like you take it or use it or somebody who's.
Well, at what point, like, how rich do you gotta be before you? I thought about this a while back. It was like 3 years ago. I think it was when we went to Jordan Peterson in Utah, and me and Morgan are in the hotel. We don't have cable because that's retarded. But motel rooms have cable. So we're watching it, and I see some obvious bullshit dietary supplement commercial come on, and it's Rob Lowe. and I go off on it. I'm like, how much fucking money do you need, man? Like if
keto stuff,
I know, I understand if you're like a struggling actor, this is a bullshit product, but I know that you're working your way up the chain. But you're fucking Rob Lowe.
In our youth, man, it took to like 2010 for celebrities to start appearing, and they were too cool for it. And then they started appearing in them in Japan, and we started seeing over the internet. Did you know that Leonardo DiCaprio takes commercials in Japan? We're like, what the hell is this? And then it just
there's a certain like when it's once you reach fuck you money, I don't think I would really be tempted by any more money because like I don't know, $10 million, that's fuck you money, and I would be set for life and I wouldn't have to work again, and that'd be great. I'd pay off everything and I'd never work again. And if somebody was like, I will literally double your net worth if you hawk my bullshit product, I'd be like, why would I want to double my net worth? I already don't have to work, you stupid
somebody
fuck.
tell you like,
it's an afternoon.
You can make $500,000 for one day of work.
I get it, and this is probably me being like the I would fight against the Nazis. I'm sure this is very ignorant and naive of me to say that I wouldn't do it.
Have you seen
it. I wouldn't do it.
Have you seen that all those like late night hosts all do like Bejeweled video game commercials now?
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Okay, I'm gonna send you the cringiest one I've ever seen. Just a sec. It's a Jimmy Kimmel. Let me get it up here. What's that?
I didn't see anything.
Oh, fuck this.
Here, I'll share this in the meantime. I was going to show this just a Thomas.
The Lord of the Rings wasn't like, we really need some common sense regulations about how you use this ring, right? Like the lesson is that you have to destroy this thing. And that's tough. I'm not saying that's easy. I don't know who our Frodo is.
Shire. I mean, look at it. It can't get any more beautiful than this. And it stands in stark contrast to what lies beyond those hills.
It's Thomas Massey. I guess present himself as
Frodo. Is Mordor. And I mean, Washington, D.C. When I go, there's no greenery like this. Man has tried to create.
That's the name. Did you have the thing?
I put it in the StreamYard private chat. This is one of the cringiest, like, stupid ass games I've seen a high profile comedian hawk.
I saw Jimmy Fallon doing one. I found it in the wild, but
hey, did you? Because
just launched, and it's the follow-up to Royal Match, but the games are different. Kingdom has King Richard, while Match is King Robert. And look, if you're confused, don't worry, I'll break it down. Royal Kingdom, Royal Match.
Oh my
Royal
God.
Kingdom, Royal Match. Kingdom, Match. Kingdom, Match. Both are royal, but this ain't that. Richard, Kingdom, Robert, Match. Both have kings, but don't have ads. Man, I can't believe we don't have any ads. Richard, Robert, Kingdom, Match. Don't need Wi-Fi, it's a blast. Robert, purple, Richard, red. Both have crowns upon their head. Richard, young, and Robert, old. Royal Match has stars of gold. Kingdom, levels of adventure.
Oh my gosh.
have you ever wanted to like punch somebody in the dick this badly?
No. Well, yeah, probably like every single.
Yeah, I know. Okay, that went a little overboard. Sorry.
Yeah. Ugh. Anywho, let's pump through it. 35 seconds. Let's do the whole show. Go.
Cracker Barrel happened.
How many Divas wipes did you see?
Quite a few.
I haven't
Was there a
listened
fan?
to
How long do you think Divas is going to be chugging along? Because
he says forever.
I know. Well, I'm looking at him and I'm like, I guess we've been doing this for like 3 years, maybe 3.5. I don't know. But like,
do you think
we're not like seeking an audience? Really, we're pretty comfortable with the dozens of us.
Oh, he's
Steve's stated goal is to become the premier ex-Mormon podcaster. And if that's your goal, how long do you keep pumping out slop for like 200 people that watch?
the time he puts into edits too. He's got to be doing it all day, every day. He can't like have a day job, which I don't know if he just like got some sort of settlement or something somewhere, because he has to just sit there doing that all day, every day.
Yeah.
And he was obviously shooting for the stars with it, and he'd probably already be making something to like say it was almost even just a little bit of a job if he hadn't blown himself up. But he done did. Do you think Kwaku's music is copyright?
I'll be honest, I haven't actually listened to any of it.
You haven't listened?
I had a few people send me his music video, and I had like a bunch of stuff in the queue, and I didn't want to fuck up my queue. So.
You've got Midnight Confessions, I'll Be Close to You every single day. And
explicit. We'll do the explicit one.
Which one has explicit?
Every single day. It's got the
that is this one. But he just says the shit word in there. Okay. I spoiled it, sorry.
Racy.
I don't know how much you can listen to if he's gonna like low budget.
It probably depends on how we react to it. So we should.
I think for low budget the video looks good. I do.
I don't care about the video. I care about the song, and I'm sure it's amazing.
I'm gonna have to keep pausing just for the banana. Did he always have an umlaut?
No.
Everybody say you would cheat on me. Everybody say you would do me wrong. Stab me in the back, will you feel on me? Guess that's how they do it in Arizona.
Sounds like the Weeknd if he was like, I'm gonna phone it in.
It's all clear, but I couldn't see.
Isn't that all the Weeknd does?
Yeah, it is. So it sounds like the Weeknd.
You like the Weeknd?
I mean, I said it sounds like the Weeknd. I guess there's a couple of songs that I like. All right,
all the current day stuff just kind of like sounds like this. It's like a monotone repeat of the same rhyme. I was just watching the NFL Films show, and I was listening to the song at the start of it, and I was like, "Is this Ward Radio intro?" Because it's like, come on, get up, gonna get up, can't stop me, can't stop me, can't make me bleed, can't make me see, can't make me free, and it's like everything's always like the same rhyme, like all the way through, just and a monotone. No.
Shorty in the club, got me going what? Getting on down like a clown.
Tears won't work when it's so routine. Looking at your face, wish I never known ya. Now you're so sorry. Don't mean shit to me. Hope you get
Is he in trouble for that?
Did you hear that shit?
I heard the shit.
I heard the shit, and I heard him say shit.
Your heart breaks slow. Hope you never know the kind of love that you always promise me. Cause a lie doesn't die when you walk.
I want to know who's producing this because,
like, what are the chances it's not AI? Like he's just like, I need a beat, I need a backing track.
I don't know. It might be AI. Rick B.
The auto tone is obviously thick. The auto tone is turned up to 9.5.
Well, it's thick because it doesn't even sound like his voice.
The Rick Beato, like he showed how to like make some AI songs just on his channel this week, and it just like took 10 seconds to do that stuff. I had a friend of mine send me a couple country songs that he made. He's like, "What do you think of the song?" I'm like, "Wow, this is a little while back." I'm like, "Sounds like you worked on it. You put some time. The AI helped or whatever." And he's like, "How about this?" And it took him like 30 seconds, and he like switched the song entirely, but it was the same lyrics. And I said, "What?" So you just kind of click a different thing and try the song out. It's like fully recorded and finished. In the meantime, my band and I have been recording. Like we spent like 4 or 5 hours on one song, and we got back and listened to it, and we realized that it kind of sped up too fast, and so we lost the whole entire thing. But I guess we're wasting our time. We're all wasting our time. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if the song just keeps going like that. Did you want to hear more? There's more
No.
talk about Arizona.
Now we're good.
Yeah, what's his beef with Arizona?
He always brings that. I think he's doing like inside jokes. He always brings that up on Word Radio that Arizona's the worst. There's Risto and Crap Game.
What does hola mean? You speak Spanish. What does hola mean?
It means hella.
Oh, okay.
Elegance.
Whole lot
Elegance.
Elegance. We're elegant. I don't know what show this is. It says if you don't know the show, the movie, your child is crap. But that's the kid from Jurassic Park that I was in MTC with.
I don't think I don't know that show. I guess my trailer.
I had no idea what it was. It's called like Summer Stay something. I don't know. But did you guys watch Mom Donnie try to bench press?
I did. I wish we like.
No.
I'm almost to the point where I'm like, yeah, not everyone should have the right to vote. And I think like how much you can bench, like, should be how much you can vote. It would inspire me to bench, and then only swole dudes would really have a voice. It'd be great.
I thought that was the. Here's the actual video of it. Sorry. I don't know if you need that. Okay.
Oh, yeah! This is how you move up in the.
So maybe I would start selling supplements to this guy. That's 135. I don't know who talked him into going and sitting down and doing this. Just like to maybe like if you're like a first time, just kind
Well,
of.
no, I know what happened. I know what happened because it's 135, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, any fucking pussy could bench like probably 150, like, right? So just you bench 135, you'll be fine. They probably just totally overestimated him.
I'm sure that's what they did. Like, unless you like see somebody who's kind of like a little bit overly skinny, you'd assume that maybe they'd probably just be able to put up the 135, you know?
Oh, yeah!
I'm my very first time benching. I know I was 13 or 14. I know my first time was 165 at like 13 or 14.
See, I'm looking at this and I'm like, that looks like something I could probably bench. But here's the thing,
You'd bench it.
I've never bench pressed. Not a single time in my life. I don't know if you knew that about me. I don't work out much. But like if I'm running for mayor of New York City and I look at that bar with that amount of weight, I would be, and they told me it was 135 pounds, I'd be like, I'm like basically positive I could do that, but I've never benched in my life. So I'm not going to risk fucking optics. Like, what if I'm a huge pussy?
Yeah. The background music get you. All right.
You turn your fucking phone to video all the other people videoing.
I heard some people saying, like, well, why didn't the guy drop it out of his hands? I'm like, you could tell he would drop it. That guy's being a good spotter. Like, you can see
I know,
he doesn't have the power for it.
Because why didn't he drop it out of it? Because you would have died.
Yeah. Oh man, I see what that other guy was saying about it there. I hope your heart breaks slow. Do me.
Shawty in the club, got me going what? Got me down like a clown in the pants.
Arizona.
Yeah, fuck Arizona.
Let's see what he says. I think he said the same thing that you said. Hold on.
Benching 135, that is utterly disqualifying for political office. The mental image picture of this cretinous goblin obtaining the centralized violence of the state, that disqualify you. That should send like actual shivers up your spine. Under that dichotomy, that this is actually made himself knowingly through his own choices and decisions. He's made himself completely incapable of expressing physical aggression. And he is now desperately seeking the mechanized and centralized violence of the state. Examine that dichotomy. Hold space for that dichotomy. That very complex aggression, it doesn't go away. It needs to be expressed. All humans experience and express aggression. It just depends on what form. What form will Mom Donnie's repress? Impotent aggression take. Mom Donnie has his hands on the force multiplier. The violence multiplier that is the centralized power of the state. What form will his repressed aggression take?
Hopefully dudes' buttholes.
Oh yeah, it's just that. Yeah.
The hell did you do to your camera, Flip?
I don't know. I can't get it to.
Well, you know, whatever.
It pops in and out. I don't know how to. It doesn't have like a control. It's all auto.
Focus on something closer. Zero bench club 2. Risto's never benched. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, you guys. Oh my goodness. Travis Kelce benches. Did you guys hear about the Travis Kelce finally acquires a ring without help of referees?
I had not heard.
They did another one that said
engaged? Oh.
that his engagement was disqualified because his knee didn't touch the ground.
That's funny.
I like this. Trump taking credit for successful Taylor Swift relationships. Trump 1, all other presidents 0. This is something I've seen on TikTok. There's some sort of like Salt Lake Swingers Club. These guys, the impulsive video, I forget what it's called already. The Sanctuary in Salt Lake City. These just keep popping up. I'm thinking that maybe it's thinking I'm part of the pipeline, but I'm guessing I'm getting that algorithm because of our dang show, man. Troy wanted to be in the 300 Club, but never quite made it.
There's still time, buddy.
There's still time. Turn it around right now. Think of this face yelling at you. Weak.
Why stop at 300, Troy? Don't sell yourself short.
Trump Wagner says Trump is also the only president to have launched not one but 2 Nintendo Switches.
Yeah,
I think all is forgiven for Trump's flag burning stuff. Yeah, if he's marrying off Taylor Swift and giving us Nintendo Switches,
how many Zelda games did other presidents produce? Huh?
Make it $1 trillion.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean,
I really hope that flag thing gets knocked down by the courts. That thing is, I don't know. It's so dumb.
That's retarded.
It will,
Yeah.
I'm sure, but I think they kind of were doing a goofy thing. If you think about, did you read the thing?
Yeah, I read the EO, and they're doing a goofy thing where I don't know. Essentially, the wording looked like it was if you're burning a flag to incite violence, then that's
Right.
illegal. And you're like, why is that?
Yeah.
It's already illegal to incite violence normally. So
I think that's
burning
the
a flag,
point.
it was already illegal to burn a flag to incite violence. So it's like we need to make it illegal. If you
Yeah.
want to kill a man because he's wearing a green shirt, that is now illegal. You cannot kill a man for wearing a green shirt. If you walk into a bar and say that man has a green shirt, I want to kill him. You can't do that anymore.
But I think that's why it was all ultimately political theater, because like arson already covers it, that it's illegal in certain, to light somebody's stuff on fire or something like that. And then the flip end of it is it said you can't be a foreign national and light it, but you could already like send away a foreign national for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like they could make up any reason they wanted to do it. So I'm thinking like the whole thing was just like a way to get people jabbering and talking.
Was that? Yeah, because like I mean, I know
It's
that's
nothing.
an issue that never dies, but was that something that was really bubbling up right now?
No, it just popped up.
Well, he mentioned it in his first term.
Yeah, I saw the people over on Timcast talking about what if he is getting out ahead of a Summer of Love type violence thing, and if you're talking about getting like all these feds in the city centers in these different places, and then putting extra protections around inciting riots, it's anticipating a Summer of Love for the midterms or something like that coming up, and just having something already in place.
Yeah, but it's already illegal to burn anything in the street. So like people are trying to make a martyr out of this dude. There was that dude who burned
Not
the
in
flag
democratic cities.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, well,
They
it's
burnt
illegal. It's just they
an
don't-
entire cop car a block and a half away from me, and I think maybe one person got charged for that.
No, it is illegal. It's just
That's just
not
it. The
really.
entire the entire DEI executive order was just restating the Civil Rights Act.
Yeah, no, but
it
that
was
one-
already illegal.
I would unabashedly say that one was necessary, though.
Necessary to repeat what was already law, because this
Yes.
one is also just kind of So,
No,
so
I
is
would
he
say
saying
for
that he's doing
DEI.
that? Because we're just saying like all along when you guys were burning these flags, we could have arrested you for arson or for, I don't know.
Well, it's sort of a judgment thing. If like I would say if I'm in charge of arresting people or whatever, and some dude tries to set fire to a restaurant, he's definitely going down for arson. If some dude like just burns a flag in the middle of a street that's blocked off or something like that, I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to charge you with arson because like you clearly weren't trying to burn buildings down or something like that. I know I could technically, but like fuck you, like don't burn things in public. Here's a fine, and
Yeah, I played devil's advocate as long as I could. It's a stupid one. I actually wrote a paper in my mass comm law class in college about why it was like my paper for the term of why it was okay to burn flags. And
and you're making martyrs out of it. Like if I were like the most Trump deranged person in the world right now, I would be burning an American flag so that I'd get arrested, so that I'd then be the next Kilmar Abrego Garcia, except white, so not quite as good.
It was funny to watch Matt Walsh freak out about it today because I guess James Lindsay dug up that he had defended the ability to burn flag multiple times in 2019, and it's one of the first times I kind of saw like a Matt flustered in a while because he's kind of like, "Oh, you caught me! Wow, you caught me! What? But that stuff's maybe get into that, but stuff's been kind of going wild in that area of the liberals versus the woke right versus the whatever.
Like, I want somebody to just, as an experiment, to like go down to the Capitol building and then like start burning an American flag and start getting all the booze, and then pull out a pride flag and light it on fire with the first flag. And you can find out everybody's political leaning just by watching how they react.
Go burn both of them at the same. We should do that. We should go burn both at the same time and see what happens. I might be into doing that, man.
I know that'd be kind of fun. Let's do it sometime.
You know, the only person doing all that, it usually shoots stuff up. Well, they did yesterday. If the messages are like mixed all the way across the board, that's the one who ends up shooting. No.
Yeah, those messages were very mixed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go past the Cracker Barrel stuff to that because it was a first. So I don't know, being like an individualist and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I think there's something to be said for sure that it's like, no, it's not guns, but at the same time too, just like you don't say, well, obviously it's men, just like men on average are more murderous and that sort of deal. But of course, we're not saying, you know, they're not all thing or something like that, but it's pretty high in this world, but it's still like in the 1% range of all people, you know, but defending equality. Hyper Jackson Wasper. The problem is once more the abundance, accessibility, and idolatry of firearms in the country make God and the martyrs and their families in Minnesota. Abundance and accessibility of the guns. So I think I saw one just right before we started. And then people like coming down on them for saying praying for people. And it was kind of interesting to see JD Vance say, it's shocking to me that so many left-wing politicians attack the idea of prayer in response to a tragedy. Literally, no one thinks prayer is a substitute for action. And is that true? Like, do you think some people do?
Well, so a lot of people, I don't know, saying thoughts and prayers is just like a nice way to say I'm thinking about you. But yeah, I would say that most people don't think that prayer is a substitution for action.
But some do, don't they?
Yeah, I'm sure
there's for people who don't want to change their Facebook profile picture and add a little.
I stand with whatever Minnesota city just got shot up by a tranny. Seth.
Oh, was he on? Oh, yeah, he's on there. Yeah, getting all blue and on. Like, well, how come we already know about all this other trans? We don't know anything about the shooter.
Full on blue and on. He posts like at least 3 a day that are saying that the Trump assassination attempt wasn't real.
But then, of course, they're all saying this. Well, first off, I saw some stuff that like the BBC would like respected the trans and all that sorts of stuff. And then other people saying, "Don't take away. He lost his capacity to be trans once he committed a major crime or something."
I think I was reading BBC today and they were calling him.
CNN was too. Well, so there was seriously. Well, they had some experts come onto CNN, so they weren't like employed by CNN. But they had a couple of people come onto CNN who said him the whole way through. But then the actual CNN reporters really did everything they could to avoid the individual, and they.
There's a lot of that.
Well, anyway, I don't know. There's much to say about this. Just like what the heck, but
Well, you're a piece of shit for killing a bunch of kids. You should have just killed yourself because you're a piece of shit.
it's usually hard for me to connect to that stuff. But I saw some Twitter video of the kids running out from the place up close, and I was like, oh.
No,
Like,
I know that.
I
one
didn't get to
actually-
see. I didn't get to see like the Sandy Hook kids like that. You know.
I'm actually like more sensitive to this shit the older I get. I was like, even watching like true crime documentaries gets me all fucked up a little bit now.
I kind of have to see the victim a little bit. Like if people are just saying like a number someplace, it doesn't connect. But then like I see the kids running out, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it makes you want to like just go and completely savage on this piece of shit.
Yeah. I don't know. There's nothing else to say about that, right? It's just.
Well, shooting
I
kids
guess
is bad.
guns-
That's all. there
Yet
is to
another
say.
tragedy.
Guns shouldn't have done that to him, man.
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel. I only have like 3 things on the slides. Oh, there's all this. It's kind of the same deal. Like all the English flag going on in England, they're putting that up, and then people are Elon's retweeting it, making a big deal out of it. And we had this week like the whole stuff, people kind of talking more about that truck driver, and the whole thing came out about that African woman who described that Africans live time in reverse. Did you guys watch that?
Yeah.
I watched it a couple days ago, but I started watching it and I was like, this is retarded. This is like not all Africans are this dumb. It's just they're one fucking idiot philosopher who.
Do you think it was purely a flaw? Because like so many people glommed onto it, and I was like, I don't know, like
I don't know, maybe I don't know enough about African culture, but that just seems like one of the things that's
like
just,
an entire continent of people don't know what the future is.
well, okay, here's the thing. I feel like it's one of those things that most people just intuitively know is bullshit. Because like I could just, if we're high sitting there watching music videos, and I was like, bro, the future just like doesn't actually exist. What do you mean, bro? Oh, like seriously, things that exist have to happen, and the future hasn't happened, so it doesn't. And most people would like chuckle at that, like Seth Rogen or something, like, and then they'd be done with it, and they never think about it again because it's obvious bullshit. Just be like, yeah, I mean, the future doesn't exist right now because
I'll put
right
it
now, like definitionally, it can't. This is a word thing, not like some quantum bullshit.
So I think like the overarching theme of everything that we're looking at right now, especially going into the Inconvenient Faith and Cracker Barrel, which I'm kind of tying together, is just like there is a weird entire, you can use the term postmodern, but like more in the sense of everybody's tired of the current modernity, not in postmodern, not in that full philosophical sense. Like everybody's re-examining the ideals of the neoliberal order, and it's coming from both sides, hard and hot and heavy. And so much what you're looking at is what's going on with identity, what's going on with immigration, how does that affect identity? Can these people interlope? Can we just be open to any sort of concept of individuality and that sort of stuff? And every single ounce of it is an examination of it. And that's what happened with Cracker Barrel, just the same as what's going on with Jim Bennett's Goofy documentary. Like it's all trying to shave off the edges of your previous embarrassing identity.
Well,
right?
there's got to be some like gamer bro who's willing to like moneyball this shit and be like, I figured out that you can let in like 300 you can let in 300 third worlders a year for every 100,000 native
I actually
born
think that
members of the
number-
continent or something like that. I don't
actually
know.
think that number was out there. I think I've even heard like Victor Davis Hanson repeat
like
it.
that
There is,
exact number.
There's no, not like that, but like there's some.
It's like I pulled that out of my ass.
You got it. Like, no, there is some number of amount of people that you don't let them too much congregate in like one single spot. Like you spread them out.
Well, you got to assimilate, and well, you experienced this. You were a missionary. There were times on my mission when there were too many American missionaries in one space, and when we would have big gatherings, they would just start speaking English, and I'd feel bad for all the Brazilians that were there that were like, well, fuck me, I guess.
Well, we lived.
I'd have to tell him like, hey, let's speak Portuguese. Like if we're all Americans and he's not here, we could speak English, but he doesn't understand us.
I 100% empathize with it because like it was tough for us because like I told you last week on our mission, we'd have 8 people in the house sometimes. And it'd be real comfortable just like slip back into English with your friends, and you'd almost kind of be tired from talking in Spanish all day.
Oh yeah.
And you just like slip back into it, and it would ostracize some of the Spanish speakers, and you try not to do it to not upset them or offend them. But yeah, there's like intermarrying and something about like, you know, integrating the culture. I mean, it obviously happened. Like it's funny to think about because you can throw all these same screaming epithets or whatever at the concept of the Italians and the Irish when they came over, like, you know, 80 something or whatever amount of years ago. But they somehow started assimilating at some point or another, and
it also kind of depends on how similar the culture is to our culture, right? Like if it's already another Western culture, like Ireland or Italy or something like that, then it's.
But that's why everybody glommed onto this, though.
Yeah.
I should show the video if people haven't seen it. It's only a couple minutes, but everybody glommed onto this because they were making a point of if you have an entire group, like a whole entire continent of people who view the world this way, like how do you even communicate with them?
What if I told you that for many African societies, the concept of the future doesn't exist, and that instead of time moving forwards, time actually moves backwards? This was the work of John Mbiti, one of Kenya's and Africa's greatest philosophers. And in 1969, he wrote something that completely reimagines the way we think of African time. Mbiti says time is a two-dimensional phenomenon with a long past, vibrant present, and virtually no future. Using Swahili words, he describes the 2 dimensions of time. The first one being sasa, the now, the recent past, and the immediate future, which can be experienced. The second dimension is zamani. Zamani is the vast, endless past where all events eventually go on to live forever. But the future in African thought, it barely exists because time is made up of events. Time has to be experienced in order to be real. So because we can't conceptualize events tied to the distant future because they haven't been experienced yet, then therefore the future cannot constitute part of time. And this is why, according to Mbiti, African languages, at least the East African Bantu languages that he studied, don't have a word to describe the distant future. In African time, according to Mbiti, events create time. Seasons, ceremonies, a conversation, those moments produce time, and people produce as much time as they need. An example that Mbiti uses from the communities that he studied is that a year is measured based on 4 seasons, 2 dry seasons, 2 wet seasons. So a year is only over when those 4 seasons have taken place. So a year could take 365 days, 390 days. It doesn't matter the number of days in a year. What matters is that the 4 seasons have taken place.
Okay, but that's still a number of seasons. Like, what? You're still basing it off a number of a thing that happens. Okay, we're just basing it off a number of the times the Earth rotates on its axis. You're basing it off of the amount of times that the leaves fall off the trees. This is I actually have a name for this. I call it dinner party syndrome, because one of the things that is just routine through all of my favorite authors. You get this in Ayn Rand and Dostoevsky and Tolstoy and Turgenev. All of their books have a dinner party, and it's all a bunch of ritzy people trying to like climb the social ladder by listening to one guy that has convinced him that like he's really fucking smart. And there's no kid there to say the emperor has no clothes. Like, there's no kid listening to this, but like there's an actual measurement by which we measure days. It's when the sun goes down and comes up. That's what we measure it by. There's a real thing, and in people, like human beings, intuitively understand the difference between day and night.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know like how like those guys glomming onto it, but I mean, still the point can be taken a little bit. Like people can think vastly differently than our propositional nation, and that's one of the things that James Lindsay's been getting into it with Sargon and Akkad.
Okay, well, they can think different about it, but like, are there any African tribes that'll be like, "What is night?" Like when you say night is when it's dark, they'll be like, "I actually have no concept of that because I base everything off seasons."
I don't know enough about them. I know enough about like the type of people who've been coming in not assimilating well in our cultures, and they're not far off like the Mexican. I think my personal belief is the Mexicans fit American culture, maybe because we've just been around them longer, much better than like the new like Venezuelans and Colombian like South American cultures. Mexicans, maybe we're just used to them or something like that, but I think Mexicans are far more compatible with, like, it's almost like I would put almost like actual Mexicans, people from the US and Canada, almost just exactly the same, just with like a little bit different languages in some of the French areas and some of the Mexicans.
The one I don't know about Canadians, but I do know one issue that I have with Mexicans is that they all they take their entire family shopping and they walk quadruple file very slowly down the aisle. It's really the only issue I have with the Mexicans.
They always,
I'm like, come on, guys. How are you
in,
not in it? Maybe I'm fucked for being in a hurry all the time. Maybe it's my problem, but
I've noticed that's a Latin American thing, is walking in line abreast formation down.
Yeah, let's talk about all the things we notice about those assholes.
One thing that I know that they share our culture perfectly is because yesterday I was training a Mexican guy at work, and he was listening to Mexican morning zoo radio, and the guy was doing like full on super racist impersonation of a Japanese guy, but in Spanish. I'm like, oh, okay, so we share that at least.
well, I remember like one of the other ways that Mexicans are a little bit different culturally is that they'll live in they'll have a bunch of them living in one home a lot longer than a naturalized American would do that, right? Because I had two friends. One was just an American dude, and one was a Mexican dude. His parents were immigrants. Didn't speak a lick of English, which it's like, you've been here 20 years. Learn the fucking language, jackass. But he's telling me how the American ones tell me how weird it is that, like, oh yeah, in this house they've got like 30 people that live there, and it's like a husband and a wife get one room and that's it. And I was like, I don't know, it sounds kind of practical in a way. You know, like they're saving money, hopefully. I mean, unless they're spending it frivolously, but
yeah. Things I noticed the difference between the Venezuelans and the Mexicans. The Venezuelans, at least in the workplace, the Venezuelans don't know about knocking on doors. They bust through doors like Kramer, like everywhere they go. And Mexicans are the opposite. Like Mexicans will they'll peek around a window and slowly like walk up to the door, like, am I allowed to knock? You know, it's like, but some of it might just also be it's a different class of people who come.
Christopher just proved me wrong. He said, I don't know, not learning the language after 20 years is pretty, the future doesn't exist. All right. I concede.
Yeah, the whole thing came up with that Kilmar Garcia this week. They're trying to kick him out, and of course, like all the left is like, no, save him. He's just murdered a gang member's mother. He needs asylum because he murdered a gang member's mother in El Salvador, and he also trafficked kids here, and he also beats his wife. Save the poor baby, save the poor baby. But people were noticing that at his own press conference for that, 10 years here, he had to speak in Spanish the whole entire way through. But
no, I'm like,
you think of, like, explaining your actions to the police for 20 years, you learn something.
You think of it in terms of like, there's an American tourist stereotype where like we expect everybody to speak English or whatever. Like it's a family of fat Texans or whatever, like just go into some Italian restaurant. Especo Englisha, Especo Englisha, and then they're like, no, and they're like, you guys have any spaghetti? And they'll say, I don't speak English, and then they'll just say it louder. Do you have spaghetti? You're a jackass. I mean, at least you're just a tourist. But I don't know. I was talking about it on the group chat that. Like Troy, just speak louder and slower. Duh. I was talking about it in the group chat that I knew a couple of American missionaries who I had zero desire to be out there, but these guys had way less desire than I did because they didn't even try to learn the language at all. Like they would either rely on their American companions who could speak, or they would just hope for the best. And like, you're kind of an ass, you know that? Like running into a bunch of Brazilian markets and like begging for somebody to speak your language that's hundreds of miles away.
Yeah. I don't know, but I at the same time, what you're saying, like about if we only integrated them like so fast at a time, they totally really it could be a melting pot. They could integrate, but what do you do if the pooch is already screwed on that, right? Like
So you put the toothpaste back into the tube. That's what you do. You just gotta
We send
cram
them-
it in there.
But what if Jackson Washburn cries?
Good.
Good. But what if a bunch of other women see it on TV and like, oh, the poor baby. What if they do that? Like,
Oh well, I don't know. I'm so. I guess people have told me that I'm not empathetic so much that I'm like, I guess now I'm just not empathetic. Just fuck off.
what I think I'm exactly empathetic. And what is empathy? But you're supposed to treat others as you would have them treat unto you. And I put myself in. What if I went and did that, and they kicked me out of their country?
Well, I actually had this discussion.
Full perfect empathy. I would say, "Oh, you caught me. Bye bye." That's what
Well,
I
know.
would do.
I actually had this exact discussion today on an NPR comment section about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and they're talking about how they're trying to illegally deport him for nothing. He's a Maryland father, and I was like, "Oh man, I wonder what the DOJ court files like say. Like, what's their reasoning why he was worried about gang retaliation?" And a bunch of people jumped down my throat like, how would you feel if you were kicked out of your country into Uganda, of all places? You don't have any ties to Uganda? I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I'm going to cancel my plans to illegally enter a different country.
In order to run away from the murder.
I
that
was going to
committed.
murder a guy and then run away to another
I have
country,
already
but-
committed a murder, and instead
In
of
fact-
sending me to jail, they're sending me to a different country. The humanity.
right.
The humanity.
If I killed a gang member's mom and they were like, we're going to put you back in where the gang member was, I was like, please don't. And they were like, okay, we're going to send you to Uganda. I'd be like, oh God, thank you. Okay, that's fine. We'll compromise at Uganda.
Maybe I have enough self-shame that I'd be like, oh yeah, if I trafficked a bunch of kids and killed a lady, I would hang myself. So I get to hang Kilmar Garcia. You know,
That's where empathy leads you.
that's empathy, right? That's exact empathy. That's how I would do unto others as I would do
Oh,
unto me if I
Empathy
did that. I'm
is
supposed to feel what he feels.
yeah, no, empathy is unlimited benefit of the doubt no matter what.
Oh, okay. I guess I need more Cara Burrell in my life to learn how this empathy goes. Empathy, it sounds like mumps. Mumpathy.
You should have
Empathy?
approached her in that Walmart or wherever you were.
This little girl had some. I don't know if we even got more to the story or something, but over in England, she was holding a knife and an axe up to some foreign person. We've heard all the stories of like the rape gangs coming out of England and all that sort of stuff, but don't talk about that because you could be racist. What would you rather? Would you rather have somebody call you a racist, or would you rather let all the little girls get raped? Like that's
While we're on the subject of hanging yourself for doing shitty things, I feel like if I let a bunch of little girls get raped because I was worried about being perceived as racist, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hang myself. You know? I owe that to humanity.
It is such like a weird scale thing of. So I'm going to throw this not in the way that Sargon of Akkad does, because I'm going to make maybe people call it an illegal move, but I call neoliberalism something of like all this shit that is the real thing that this thing's acting like versus a liberalism, like a classical liberalism, like what it's supposed to be. The neoliberal thing weighs saying a racist above a rape or an assault or a, you know, and
well, they
like
weigh rape above murder.
Okay, so how on earth did things get so out of scale over there? Like that's there's no objectively there has to be some sort of. We could argue all day about philosophy, no objective word, but we could probably argue. Everybody should argue saying a word should not be as bad as an assault, or a rape should not be as bad as accidentally committing a racist in your mind. I committed a racist in my mind.
It's fucking religion. No, I remember a bunch of people talking about some guy who was willing to say the N-word online, right? And they're like, oh, I bet you wouldn't say that in person. And anytime I see that, I always reply to the guy, and I'm always like, what do you think would happen if they said it in person? And because I know the answer, I know it's always like violence, like he might die as a result of it. And I'm like, okay, how are you the good guy? He
Yes,
said a mean thing, and he was an asshole for saying the mean thing, and then you turned yourself into the asshole because you killed someone for saying a mean thing, and killing someone is just objectively worse.
You've got to skewumpus morals. We're not saying one of them is good. We are comparing, and one is bad. One is very, 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 very bad. You know.
No, I remember watching. I don't remember what show it was, but some show where some guy's trying to make the case that rape is worse than murder, and the other guy's like, "What are you talking about? I mean, rape's bad. It's terrible, but it's not worse than murder." He's like, "Oh, it is. It's worse." He's like, "Okay, gun to your head. Do you want me to kill you or rape you? Like, those are your options." And he was like, well, fuck, I mean.
Didn't know you're gonna ask me. That's kind of put me on the spot, man.
Okay, I guess
You're just trying to get clicks. You're trying to get clicks. We're
not
even filming this.
Think about the fucking thing that I said.
It's weird. You're not supposed to do gotchas, says the Jim Bennett. Yeah, so this girl's holding up her axe and stuff, and she's become like a hero of the place. Of the little 12-year-old girl holding up an axe. I mean, I guess Elon was like repeating it and putting it out there. I'd help to like the legal action against the corrupt officials who aided and abetted the rape of Britain per the official government inquiry. But of course, it was racist. St. All British authorities arrest St. George for brandishing bladed weapon at Dragon. I don't know. So that whole place has started putting up a flag of St. George's cross. Is that St. George? George's cross.
Did she run? Did she? If she ran up to the dude brandishing a hatchet and a fucking big knife, then I guess she's the asshole here. But like, come on, the dude's following her with a camera, like, "Show me the knife. Why don't you show me that hatchet? No, show it to the camera." Like, if it's like you go to America and you see a girl carrying around a big knife and a hatchet, like the worst that could happen is that you go up to her and you'd be like, hey, why are you carrying that around? And then she'd explain it to you and be like, oh, like that's it.
Yeah, Jonathan shared this one with us.
Let's see how long this one takes them.
Want the council to remove quickly then.
That old sofa has been there for 3 weeks, and my son painted an England flag on the front.
Council remove my bins when they have the England flag on it. let's see how long.
Yeah, it looks funny when it does.
I know. I hope AI never gets less. I know it'll get less derpy, but
some of the derpy stuff looks good though.
It's funny.
No. So they're putting those flags all over England, and some people are getting in trouble for it and arrested for it, and other people, I guess it's a protest.
You're gonna put it on a pothole, and then they're gonna come paint over it, but not fill the pothole. That's what's gonna happen.
I don't know how actually bad it is over there, but it seems bad from like all the reporting I see from it, that there's a bunch of different people saying that before 2050 it will be like an Islamic majority country, and there's no stopping it. We just like saw that thread by Data Republican.
Yeah, well, you're just like you're like, in the name of liberalism, I have imported a bunch of illiberal people. Like all at once. I wonder what's going to happen in a democracy full of illiberal people. What's going to get voted in?
So that's what one of the criticisms that woke right type are giving to liberalism is that it can't not do that. Like it can't not open itself to vote in its destruction, because its destruction will make blocks against itself to get voted in to destroy itself. Or just to be the opposite thing. Like, we're a bunch of illiberal people, but we've made a big enough block and you must vote us in to, take away the liberalism. Yeah. But Data Republican had a long thread. Oh, maybe I'll pull it up. I can't find it like right off the bat. Jonathan shared it with this. That went into detail about how there's all these treaties in England that they can't undo it. Like they can't even get around to starting to deport stuff according to their laws. It's pretty wild when you read it all.
Yeah, and at that rate, you just say, "Never mind, we're we're not doing that." That was a really bad move on our part.
Yeah,
the treaty's gone. We're sending you back. Okay, go fix or fuck up your own country, whichever you'd like to do.
Here it is right here. Why the UK can't deport refugees, even criminal ones. It just goes into this like long detail about all the NGOs and different treaties that they've signed going back years. They can't do anything about it, and there's huge financial benefit to bring them in, and it's not going to stop. And I don't know how it could stop. I saw the Lotus Eaters. They put out a video saying like, "Hey, stop coming." I think somebody like some famous right winger said something about the UK's conquered or something like that, and he came out, "How dare you say we're conquered? You shouldn't say we're conquered. No, we still got lots of fight in us." And I just commented on the thing and got a bunch of likes, and I said, "I thought you were conquered because of Lotus Eaters." You know, like it's you guys putting out the videos constantly that says we are screwed, we are screwed, we are screwed, and
yeah, what's the most popular baby name for the last 4 years in the UK?
Yeah, it's been a while, but this is where Sargon and James Lindsay, and I guess this ties into the other stuff too, but they got into a big fight where James is claiming somehow that England is a propositional nation just as much as the United States is. And one of the long-standing things between certain conservatives and liberals is that the concept of nation, like, is nation a people, an ethnos? And a lot of them say if you go back to the origin of the word nation, it actually meant an ethnos, whereas the concept of the United States, maybe France after the revolution, not really, but because it got so stupid after the revolution over there, but only then did the concept of a propositional nation, did that sort of thing come in. And I totally get anybody arguing for. I asked Grok, like, is the U.S. a people or is it a propositional, nation? And Grok's like, both. Like, both. Like, both have good points. Grok says that to me.
Yeah.
Like, type it in and find out right now. But England's, is England just their nation is just what the Constitution is, or is England the English?
Well, okay, I'd say America is a proposition or an idea or whatever, in so much as like we sort of bottleneck the amount of third worlders we let in. I mean, that might sound terrible, but whatever, I don't care anymore. Like I said, you got to do the fucking math. There will be an algorithm. Let 300 people in for every 100,000 a year. And then we'll be good. Or so long as people assimilate. But if you let them in enormous blocks, like 600,000 Chinese students, then they're not going to assimilate. They're just going to make their own communities and hang out, and they'll never have to learn the language. And then we'll have to press 3 for English.
A lot of the people are calling them like paperwork Americans, that they just learn how to do the basic paperwork, and they're not actually proving that they're in agreement with that proposition. And we could just do better at making sure they're in agreement with the proposition. Like, that's all you'd have to do, and that's what hasn't been getting done. But England, like, to me, I brought this point up a bunch of times before, but to me, does not England have a bit of a claim like Israel? So James and Sargon went after each other for a while, and James tried to make the case that Israel has a proper claim to an ethno nation, whereas England does not. And there's part of me that kind of goes, okay, well, this whole thing, I kind of get the thing of Israel doing it, but why is Israel the only one that gets a carve out? If you ask me, I would think that Ireland and England kind of have that same claim.
It's goose and
am I
gander
wrong?
shit. No, it's goose and gander shit.
But when did a liberal like James Lindsay decide England was propositional and not a
well, and you have to ask him: is propositional? Is that superior?
Did it change with the Magna Carta? Did it change when it became imperial?
Like, if it's superior to be propositional, then Israel should be propositional. It clearly shouldn't. And if it's superior to be a people, then Israel should be a people.
So,
and I guess, I mean, obviously there's the whole messy shit where Israel's surrounded by people that want to exterminate them, so that sucks. But like, I don't know. I just be reasonable. That's it. That's really the. I just throw my hands up in the air and I'm like, just be reasonable letting people in. So don't let everybody in all the time. Just let some people in. You know, be a little judicious on it.
Yeah, so I mean, this whole thing kind of wraps around, and again, like I'm saying, I think it's almost all kind of the same question about Cracker Barrel and that stuff. So that'll be the thing we'll work towards. Real quick, before Flip's maybe got to go. Before what is it? Flip tenor chicken dinner.
Feeling sooner than that. I'm really tired. I'm already like zoning out.
No,
I've been working a lot lately.
You're banned from leaving. You're stuck on the show forever.
I wanted to talk about
when are you
critical
going to...
Mormon theory ward radio, but
we don't do that. I mean, go ahead and do that, because I mean, this is all just the same. Almost anything could link back to the same thing, because it just seems like all of this stuff is reconciling with identity, and are you Nazi if you keep your identity? You know, and I think almost anything ward radio does falls into that. So say what you want to say with it.
Because it's the Daily Wire thing. Were you going to cover that?
Which one? The ward radio complaining about Daily Wire? No, but that fits. Like, go for it.
Because you know because the guy says, like, I mean, the exact quote is like, not exact quote, paraphrasing, but he's like, you know, the Mormon leader.
What was the dude's name? Phillips? Corbett Phillips or something like that. Borat Phillips.
But
Corporal Phillips.
The Mormon leader was a treasure digger. That's kind of shady. And he even said something like, you know, but Mormons are good people, you know. So even, you know, he's saying like just that, like,
well,
Mormon people specifically. And then Ward Radio spends 20 minutes going, they literally hate us. We're like, okay, so that's the standard, Cardin. Like, if you have any criticism whatsoever, or anything bad to say about the foundations or fundamental claims of any other religion, you necessarily hate them, because that's what you guys do all the time.
See, I was shitting on him in the chat a little bit, just shitting on the Daily Wire guy in the chat, but I actually had misunderstood it. I thought he started it. Like, I thought he was the one that said, no, he didn't. I was under the impression.
I still thought that.
Okay, we kind of did. So what I'm saying is, I was under the impression that he tweeted out something that, like, Mormon history is more shady than other Christian histories, but he didn't do that. It was just some woman posted a thing that was like, actually, I think Mormon history is less shady than other Christian history, and then he pointed out the Joseph Smith treasure digger thing, and I was like, oh, buddy, like if you want to point out shady Joseph Smith stuff, like, the treasure digging is fucking wholesome compared to a lot of it. So do something else. But, you know, whatever. And then, so of course, that was a bunch of stuff that was debunked 150 years ago.
Debunked. It never happened.
So
I like you even said, like, he tried to talk Josiah Stoll out of paying him money for treasure digging. Like, what the fuck? Where are you guys getting this shit?
Well, I mean, they're upset that they said he was a treasure digger at all, right? And they're not, just because he didn't get fully convicted. Like, nobody, even on the LDS side, is trying to say that he didn't engage in that stuff, right? Or are they trying to say that now?
They're playing both sides of it in classical ward radio fashion. Like, that's one of the things he said is like, well, actually, Joseph Smith tried to talk him out of it. Like, I don't think that's true.
What was the guy's name? Probate Phillips?
What is the talking out of?
Rebate Phillips? What's that?
Cabot Phillips, I think.
Cabot.
C-A-B-O-T.
Ciabatta Phillips.
Propane Phillips.
Cabot.
Yeah. Or I don't know how you pronounce it, but what is the talking out? What do you have to do to talk a guy out of employing you as a treasure digger?
I don't know.
Because all you got to do is be like, no, I'm not going to do it. That's it.
Yeah.
Just, nah.
I just imagine it's like a used car sales. Like, well, I don't have to sell you this car if you want your babies to die.
Please
Like-
don't buy this car. I'm begging you not to buy this car. Okay, I'll sell it to you if you insist.
Yeah. Man, there's no search inside of a cars thing. Oh, cab. I'm trying to find the original. It just said. Didn't he say Mormons are pretty bad?
You go to his Twitter and you type in Joseph Smith, and that'll be
From Cabot Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was doing it from
Oh.
Cardin's. Why is there sometimes a search bar? Oh, there it is. Search within. I swear that jumps around. Joseph.
I showed you guys that when I was trying to look something up on YouTube for Daily Wired. I put in daily, and the autofill
Oh yeah.
like had 10,000 things that like are not in my algorithm at all, and like you could tell like they're just totally burying the idea that there's even a show called Daily Wire.
There it is. Before founding Mormonism, Joseph Smith ran a scam business using a magical seer stone, which he said directed him to buried treasure on people's property.
Yeah,
In
that's all true.
1826, he was put on trial for ripping so many people off. In 1827, he just happened to dig up the golden plates that became the Book of Mormon. Totally not shady.
Well, it just said put on trial. I guess it didn't say, or it got
Yeah,
thrown out
yeah.
before he went to trial, right?
He didn't even call him. He didn't even call him convicted. I guess. I don't know.
I guess everybody. I mean, if you watch the word video, you see everybody's hard takes, hard repeats. Did you read the Book of Mormon, dude? Luke Hanson's all nice to him. There's, please don't become the intolerant thing you used to rebel against your comments. Well, so then they all like showed pictures of them like subscribing from the Daily Wire.
Christopher said he said someone said if you watch the Ward Radio episode closely, Cardin doesn't actually cancel his Daily Wire.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I haven't watched it closely. That'd be hilarious, right?
He's sneaky. But I mean, I guess one of the questions that was funny that comes back to this is how you tie it in. They all said to him, "All right, now do Ben Shapiro's religion."
No, that is funny. Be like, okay, tell Ben Shapiro that he should, because at one point, Cabot Phillips said, "Yeah, Mormons are great people. I've lived with them. They're nice people, all that stuff. But I tell them that they need to repent and come to the real Jesus or whatever." Which, like, to the Mormons, I'd say, like, how did you not already know that that's what he thinks? Like, how's that not in the back of your head? Like, of course, like most Christians think that you are a fallen religion or whatever. You've got to already know that. But it is kind of funny to clap back and be like, okay, now do the Jews, buddy.
Yeah.
More on that one, or
I think we covered it. Those guys are jackasses. We know that.
Well, so I was gonna like show the clip, but maybe I just like overview it. There's Jonathan Pajal was on with that banjo player from Winston. What's from the
Winston Marshall from Mumford and Sons.
Why do I always forget that band name? Man?
Mumford and Sons.
You know, I play the banjo. I not to brag, but I will brag because it's not much of a brag. I am now a banjo player. For a while, I was a banjo, could memorize a song, but like I've been playing long enough now that I can play stuff. Like I can play just kind of by ear and do stuff and fill it in and all that sort of stuff. So I'm at the level of I play. I'm not an expert. I'm not like great at it, but I play. I can play and play anything. I have never once had it run through my head that I want to learn a Mumford and Sons song. I try to pick up anything like my banjo. Like, can I do that? Can I do that? Can I do that? I have never once looked up a Mumford and Sons song.
Well, it's kind of one of those things. If you listen to their songs, and I've never touched a banjo really. My great grandfather was really, really good at the banjo, but I haven't really played his banjo because my dad has it. But if you play guitar enough, you can listen to the Mumford and Sons tracks on the banjo, and it feels like the banjo version of a 4-chord song. It's just as soon as you learn the chords,
like the Avett brothers, like that guy plays the banjo a bit like a guitar. He doesn't really like have like banjo chops. I think he kind of purposely does it, and it gets like a style to it.
I did that with the ukulele.
Yeah,
I got a ukulele because my mission president told me I couldn't get a guitar, and I just tuned it to the bottom 4 strings of a guitar. Like, tuned like a bass.
Ukulele was allowed, but the guitar wasn't. What's that?
Oh no, it's not that the ukulele was allowed. It's that I could hide it.
Oh, okay.
And here's the thing: is when I asked him about it, I was living with the APs at the time, and my previous mission president, when I was in Nebraska, didn't let us have a guitar. This mission president, I hadn't heard what his policy was, but one of the APs had a guitar. And so I was like, oh, cool, I can get a guitar now. I was like, but I guess I better talk to the mission president because this was before I was a piece of shit missionary. I was still trying to do the rules. And so I emailed him. I was like, hey, my last mission wouldn't let us get a guitar, but I noticed that the AP has a guitar. I was wondering if
you ratted him out.
No, the mission president saw it. We would be on P-Day in the mission office, and he'd come in there while we were playing it. So I asked him, like, can I have one? He's like, I think you need to focus on missionary work. It's like, that doesn't make any sense.
Man, my guitar got all sorts of people.
But then eventually, after a few months of that, I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm just gonna buy a guitar. I don't care if you see it. So I just bought one. Shittiest guitar I've ever owned. The frets are wider than the fretboard, so I cut my hand a bunch, sliding up and down.
Yeah, well, anyway, I was just going to reference this video that I can't find now, but I was just going to explain it. Like Jonathan Pageau, you know how Jonathan Pageau is. He's always kind of trying to explain the grand narratives. Oh, I found it, but we won't watch it. The grand narrative
related to the fact that the
happens,
and those two.
And one of the things he talks about is this whole post-war, what everybody calls the boomer truth regime era, which is like kind of our shared mythos of the West since World War II. And I think he makes like a good point that he says at the time frame of World War II, this became a big old deal on Tucker just this week because some guy said it on Tucker and everybody freaked out about it. But they said we had to kind of choose during World War II to side with the devil. We had to side with one of them. We either had to take Hitler's side or we had to take Russia's side. And I think he makes a point that like when we chose Russia's side, that's fine. Like maybe Hitler was worse and all that sort of stuff, but it set the trajectory for like the next 100 years of the stuff that would amplify and amplify and amplify, just either slowly or largely, just really quickly. Like he thought that would mean that stuff would kind of continually allow in. Like we always go around asking, like, why does nobody ever mention how many Mao or Stalin killed? But but Hitler's the devil. Well, it made one side the devil, and it made the other side make it so they can just kind of slip in for forever. And then he also said, but even that other side that's the devil, you get more and more scrupulous about it. Like not just Hitler is Hitler, but even the concept of a nation is Hitler, or the concept of your religion is Hitler, or a concept of having a people or ethnos. Like it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse, like more and more scrupulous.
I am fine with the social rule and even the actual rules on what's that thing called, social media, being that like, yeah, you can't put a swastika on your profile picture. Like we don't want to see that shit, right? You know, you can't put a Nazi flag in a public school, all that stuff. Like, yeah, all right. I'm kind of okay with that. I'm a free speech guy, but I don't mind that you can't just have Nazi emblems everywhere. But everybody's got a fucking communist power fist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. It's in schools, it's all over social media, and everybody like just that. Well, wait, why is that okay? Why is the communist power fist okay?
Well, I would twist it all the way back to this stuff because, I mean, one of the things Sear Stoner criticized us with James Lindsay about, and maybe there's some truth to it because he does it to the other end, is that James Lindsay sees the telos, like the end of the extreme of where this philosophy goes is this very, very worst thing over here. And where the end of this philosophy here goes is the end of this very, very worst thing over here. And that's where he's kind of like running into getting a bunch of like criticism and stuff. But we are watching a thing in the Mormon church where that is also happening, just in the sense of Jim Bennett is the same as Desnat. Like Jim Bennett is a certain political religious thing, and Desnat is a certain political religious thing, and one is uber super no, and the other one is constantly making headway, doing the dialectic. I think Jerry said this week, is it just does the Hegelian dialectic means you always end up with some sort of like Megatron of something worse?
Yeah, well, no. It was. I was asking because you know more about Hegel and dialectics and stuff like that, and I'm watching the Inconvenient Faith series, and I was like, I swear to God, every time I think about the Hegelian dialectic, I think that you've got your thesis, which is Mormonism, and your antithesis, which is fucking
whatever Jim Bennett's doing.
Ex-Mormonism.
Yes.
And when you synthesize them, it's basically what you're saying is let's please not throw the bathwater out with the baby. Just like
yeah,
you
much.
Only get the worst parts of both of them. It's every time I see two things meet, it's shittier than either of them when they combine.
Should I watch that? I haven't watched any of that.
Which
no,
the Inconvenient Faith.
No, look, Flip. It's 9 episodes, and here I'll show you like the picture. We showed them last week, but here's the list of episodes. 17 minutes each. Episode 1, Inconvenient Faith. 2, the Book of Mormon has problems. Then 3, LGBTQ. 4, LGBTQ. 5, race. 6, women. Flip. Tell me like with the episodes. Like they're 15 minutes each. Like, did you learn much from those episodes? Did you need to watch those episodes?
Yeah, I don't need to learn. Yeah, I already know what they
have. You already watched those episodes, having just looked at that?
No, but
I hate to say don't judge a book by its cover, but can you judge this book by its cover? I'm going to tell you yes.
Is it by Mormons? Is it just like
no? That's the point.
Well,
it's done by Dan.
Progno.
It's done by Dan Reynolds' brother, the Imagine Dragons dude, and Jim Bennett helped edit it and all that sorts of stuff, and it got released and it showed out, and then I might show a little bit of it or not, but Mormon Book Reviews covered it. We talked about it last week, but we're just getting into it more here. And Mormonism Live had Jim Bennett on last night to discuss it with John DeLynn and Colby Reddish and RFM. And strangely enough, I thought it was one of the better conversations I'd ever. Well, maybe that's kudos to Jim Bennett because he just wanted to start these conversations. But I thought it was one of the better conversations ever had by that group of.
Well, Jim Bennett knew that he was amongst a bunch of progressives. He can talk reasonably to progressives, and that's about it.
Yeah, well, he could be the one kind of like tossing in ideas from other places in that scenario. But
there was a hilarious moment near the end where Colby confronted Jim on the Nahum stuff.
Yeah,
because there's a part when they're talking about the Book of Mormon where Jim says in the documentary that there's this burial ground called Nahum, and it's exactly where the Book of Mormon says it is. How do you do that? How do you explain that? And then Colby asked him, he's like, okay, I want to ask you about what you said right here. Exactly? Like exactly? And he basically just admitted he didn't know anything about it. He's just saying
it's just from my dad's book. It's from my dad's book.
Well, I'll cop to it. That's a Bob Bennett thing that I don't know.
I don't care. I don't really care about it. But I actually thought that was kind of BS. They're treating him with kid's glove. I get treating him with kid's glove as somebody who's friendly and you're that sort of thing a little bit, but they wouldn't treat Jacob and Austin Fife with those kinds of kid gloves right there. Yeah. But Jim's right there saying, I don't care about this much. I just put it in my documentary that we just talked a lot about how we had to edit a whole lot out of a lot of different famous people to make it all concise and perfect. So it's in your documentary, but you don't care about it that much. That's just like that thing of I keep joking, that guy who keeps saying like, I have these 7 trophies. These 7 trophies don't mean that much to me. These ones haven't meant that much to me 7 years running. It's like, no, I don't care about it that much. I just made sure it made the cut of my movie.
Yeah. So one of the more shocking parts of that Mormonism Live was they get into an argument, and it's basically Bill, RFM, and Colby against Jim Bennett, arguing over whether or not the documentary was skewed Mormon or skewed ex-Mormon. And they're all telling him it's skewed Mormon. And he wasn't really arguing that. Jim Bennett was kind of like, well, it's not so much skewed. I mean, it's yes and no. He's trying to just get this part over with, without saying too much. And John DeLynn, surprisingly enough, the only guy that understands
from the top
what's going
rope.
On.
From the top rope, John DeLynn climbs the top rope.
No, seriously, he was the only one that understood what was going on, and he told him, "Well, it skews progressive, Mormon." You know, but
Bing, 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 bing.
yeah, he knocked them all out with that one hit. And
the thing about it is, Steven had it on Mormon Book Reviews.
oh my God,
Go ahead.
That's not Miley Cyrus, is it?
Yeah, it is.
So both of those images are Miley Cyrus.
Yep.
Jesus Christ! No way!
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What you were just saying right there though is that so on Mormon Book Reviews, that Maxine lady was on or something. The very first thing she said was, "I was very happy that this could deconstruct the hegemony." I'm like, holy sweet mercy. Nobody does Foucault around here. No, those are Foucault words. Those are just straight up like right out of the postmodern textbook. But the whole thing is like, you were able to deconstruct the hegemony and show the entire spectrum of views. The entire spectrum of views. Like even John DeLeon like saw that and said, there is no orthodox voices here. There's not, and as I talked about last week, those LGBTQ videos talk about it like it's a foregone conclusion that the church is going to be changing that stuff soon, right after Jim acted like nobody had ever heard or talked about
It's like tipping their leftist hand. It's just like how NPR claims to be an objective view of the entire conversation across the spectrum. And they're like, yeah, like, because that's like, and it goes to show like they literally don't consider anything to the right of Mao to be a view.
Exactly. It's the most narrow Overton window. And then they did like, I do accept some criticism, both on Mormon Book Reviews and this, that it is true that we didn't have a black voice and a Native American voice and enough women voices and enough international voices who all would have just spewed the same neoliberal progressive crap.
That's the funny part is somebody at the beginning was saying, I was just super, I think it might have been Kobe that was saying, I was just super happy. Like there's a lot of criticism I have of it, but I was just I was blown away to see a documentary that had John DeLeon and Jeremy Runnels on it and Bill Reel on it, but also Patrick Mason and Terrell Givens. And I was like, what do you I'm not shocked at all. They all have the same religion.
They all have the same politics. Their
pinnacle value.
The entire
progressivism.
Yeah, the entire series is here's all people in this very narrow political party. Some have figured out how to stay and some go. That's the documentary. You know what I mean? It's got nothing else to it except for here's how some Democrats stay and here's how some Democrats go. That's it. Like that's the documentary. That not the entire spectrum of the Mormon experience. But I beyond that, beyond just showing that, my contention is we had the whole Cracker Barrel stuff happen this week, which is what I guess I watched this little video of somebody talking about it and talk about the religion of Corpo psychoness in that other little video too. But the Cracker Barrel thing, I saw a lot of different people like try to shrug it off, especially from the left, like, oh, I care about Cracker Barrel like it's the biggest thing in this whole world. I'm like, yeah, I've eaten at Cracker Barrel, I think twice. I know it was once, I think twice. I don't care about Cracker Barrel, but it's not the point. It's not the point at all. What it's talking about or pointing to, not just the simple fact of almost you just like look up the simplification of everything in the world. There's simplifying of logos, simplifying of videos, simplifying of everything.
It was one of my friends said he's more of a liberal guy. He's like, all these conservatives are saying, what is it? All these conservatives are saying that this Cracker Barrel thing is woke. Can you believe that? How's it woke to just update something and change the logo? That's all it is. And I was like, okay, let's put money on it. Do you think that
there's more to the story?
Do you think that the CEO is woke or not? You think I could go on to her Twitter and find things that she said that you find woke? I'll bet you $100 I can. And he's just like, man.
Did you ever do it?
No,
did you ever do it? So this little video will show that. And I actually didn't know this stuff either, but I was like, yep, there's something going on there. There's something happening. And this video has the back detail. And I'm like, not surprised to find that. But my contention is that an inconvenient faith is the Cracker Barreling attempt of the Mormon Church. Like this is what Jim Bennett and crew are trying to make the Mormon Church. Like, hey guys, we got rid of our racist dude on the barrel here, and look, our I guess what else?
We know.
We got rid of the whip. We got rid of the whip.
We just changed the whole, like the logo of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It just simplified. It just says the church.
The church.
We now open every single meeting by acknowledging the land from which Lamanite tribe.
We are not.
We acknowledge that Brigham Young was a racist and a tyrant.
We are now compatible for commercials from Applebee's, for commercials from the church can now accept commercials from even Rave Shadow Legends. We have been deemed acceptable for the commercial processing of all things. Here's the stuff of
Bishop coming up. This sacrament meeting is brought to you by
this sacrament is brought to you. Hey, I had some cocoa that really boosted my tea, guys. Before we get into this prayer, let me tell you about cocoa bean prayer tea.
What if they had if they had the celebrity guests do the sacrament prayer?
I think about that a lot, that how much ads kill my soul, because now it's like I haven't had Netflix or any real streaming service in a long time other than Prime. We were watching something on the other day, and that was the first time I saw that when you pause it now, there's just like an ad on the screen. Every fucking time you pause it, it just puts a still ad on the screen. I'm like, would you fuck off? Would you please fuck off?
Noticed that.
And I remember freaking out at a gas station one day. I pull up to the gas station, get out of my car, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to leave my phone here. And while it fills up, it's nighttime. I'm just going to look at the stars. So I plug the thing in and I lean on the hood of my car and I look up at the stars and I listen to cars passing by, and it's nice for a half a goddamn second before the screen on the fucking pump starts being like, join the Maverick Adventure Club. If you get enough points, you can get a free Slurpee. Fuck you.
Christopher,
Fuck you.
Christopher
Leave
just,
me alone.
Christopher just shared us this.
He just did it.
We've already got a simplified.
Already got it.
But you want to know what? Next year it's got to be simpler, and the next year it's got to be simpler, and then it's just got to be down to COC. Oh wait, they've already got that one. But then you got to like make a super minimalist like Christ. I guess it could be just a cross or something like that, right? You could get all the way down to just a cross and a C.
Now, so when Jonathan, when he listens to the show tomorrow, your AI homework is to have celebrity voice impersonations of the prayer, like Christopher Walken, James Earl Jones.
Yeah, Christopher Walken to say the prayer. Yeah, Sydney Sweeney,
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yes, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Dear God, the Eternal Father, we ask thee to bless and sanctify this bread for the souls of all those who partake of it.
I want to do Emo Phillips, Johnny Carson, man. There's so many.
Father. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could do celebrity readings, only like $10,000 a pop on each one of them.
Yeah.
It's commercial friendly. Like it's commercial friendly now, you guys. Like we've softened the edges. We've made that little circular thing in the back just like a more easy to brand thing that just says LDS Church on it. But I wanted because people are saying like they're hanging out to see like what happens in the culture before they make a decision, and I wanted Jonathan to make an AI for me of the beacon on the fence. Like, look at the beacon on the fence up there. What's it saying? I don't know. It's on the fence. Like, thanks, beacon on the fence. You're really telling us a lot.
Hey, I was.
Alrighty.
This is gonna be a racist joke, but do you think you know how Cardin has those veterans of the war in heaven hats that he sells? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you think if he ever sees a black guy wearing those, he calls them stolen valor? You're not a vet, you fence sitter.
Oh goodness gracious. That was racist.
In Lebanon, Tennessee, the founder contacted.
You deserve a punch now because punching's less than racist.
John and Kathleen Singleton, the owners of a local antique shop, to help decorate it like an old country store. They decorated the first several stores, and after they passed, their son Larry took over. Larry and his team source from antique dealers all over the country, and he oversees a warehouse containing about 90,000 pieces for use in the stores. As you might imagine, Larry is an important part of the company. They even have a page on their website talking about him and his warehouse. At least they used to. Now, when you click the link, it just takes you to the menu. Because as you may have heard, Cracker Barrel is changing some things. This year, they started remodeling stores. White and gray paint everywhere, walls full of neatly lined frames. It looks like a real-life Pinterest board. They've also changed the peg game to now say, if you leave 3 or more, no need to be embarrassed, try again. I appreciate sensitivity, but if you can't handle being called names by a triangle with holes in it, maybe the problem isn't the game. Personally, if I'm an Egno Ramus, I want to know. Also, they now offer a plant-based sausage option for those who love breakfast and hate their endocrine system. And of course, this week they unveiled their new logo. It's all part of a brand overhaul for which the company enlisted 3 different marketing agencies. Now, if you want takes on the logo itself, just look at
3 marketing agencies.
your X time.
You take the woke shit out of it. Why in the hell would you want? Why would you want your logo to be mistakable for a Denny's logo?
Yeah. IHOP, Denny's, but it's everything. Everything's going this way. It's Corpo, Slop. Everything in the corporate world must move towards this.
Yeah, it's that JJ McCullough video on pre-modernism, modernism, and postmodernism.
Exactly.
That we're all going back to modernist slop.
Yeah. I was just watching the documentary on the Dallas Cowboys of on Netflix of the 90s, like the dynasty of the 90s, and they said Jerry Jones was such an innovator. He thought of stuff. What did he think of to do? He thought of how to put corporate brands with the cowboy logo on it. You're like
a star.
That's how he. That's the genius stuff of us, and everybody's just gonna be like the genius. Whoever figured out how to blend the corpo with your thing.
Listen, Carl's Jr. Let's talk.
But what I want to talk about is how this happened. Well, first, there's the CEO. Julie Fels-Messino became president and CEO in late 2023 and has overseen this brand overhaul. Before this, she worked at Starbucks.
Remember the Longhouse. Remember the Longhouse. You are all in the Longhouse. A picture of boot on your neck until the end of time, and that is the Longhouse.
Sprinkles, cupcakes, and Taco Bell. That's right, she's also responsible for this. But another factor is that Cracker Barrel has been working with the Human Rights Commission, a group that tells companies whether they're progressive enough. During this time, they removed Duck Dynasty merch from their stores because Phil Robertson didn't approve of sodomy. They told a pastor he couldn't hold an event there for the same reason. They participated in pride events. They adopted ESG standards. And they started DEI initiatives within the company, such as the Cracker Barrel LGBTQ+ Alliance, Be Bold for developing Black leaders, Ola for developing Hispanic leaders, and Neuroverse for developing mentally disabled leaders, which has produced at least one success story. And all of this improved their reputation.
It was a layup, but it was funny.
With the HRC. But why bother? Well, because certain people thought of the restaurant as racist, homophobic, blah, blah, blah. It started back in 1991 when they said they wouldn't hire anyone, quote, whose sexual preferences failed to demonstrate normal heterosexual values. After pressure, they rescinded the policy, apologized, and everything, but that didn't matter. Then a few years ago, a bunch of people on Twitter decided that the restaurant's name was racist, that cracker was an old word for slave whip, and that slave owners used to store these slave whips in a big barrel. Then they'd go over to it like a golf bag and pull out the perfect whip for whipping time. It's like someone woke up one day and decided to accuse Colonel Sanders of war crimes. They even said that the calligraphy swoop on the K, wink wink, was a visual representation of one of these slave whips. This is all baloney, of course, but that didn't stop Cracker Barrel from changing the logo anyway. Because of all these controversies, they brought on the Human Rights Campaign to rehabilitate their image with people who don't eat there anyway. The kind of people who can't wait for the next Google Doodle. Now, I know that casual dining restaurants aren't the most important thing in the country, but Cracker Barrel is one of the few big chains where Americans felt pandered to. If the marketing team had a picture on their wall of the ideal customer, it would look a lot like me, a guy from the South who just wants to look at old things and eat ham. In other words, the Larrys of the world. And we Larrys used to have a place to stop along the highway that felt familiar, a place to grab a sunrise sampler and look at the CD rack. Now we can go get our hormones rearranged by the Impossible Sausage and play big checkers with Dylan Mulvaney. I'm not saying any of this stuff to try and get Cracker Barrel to change back. They're already doubling down, which is expected. Conquest's flaws are still undefeated. Soon all these chains will be one big megastore with white walls and black furniture, and your food will be delivered to you by a robot anime girl. Meanwhile, normal people.
And the Mormon church will be part. It will be part.
We'll just do something else. And if we ever want to recapture that old feeling, we can always head to the nearest antique store wearing overalls and eat a rotisserie chicken.
Okay, so I got a brief request from Christopher, and I'm going to try it. He said, Gilbert Godfrey prayer, please.
I might have a request too.
Oh, God! Oh, God! Hear the words of my mouth! We ask thee to bless and sanctify this water for the souls of all those who partake of it.
I think you're breaking into Bill Burrow.
I kind of am, yeah. I haven't tried Gilbert.
Yeah, the souls of all those.
You gotta like stay up.
The souls of all those who partake of it.
I haven't done it in a long time.
All right, I got a bit. I'm falling asleep.
All right.
Watch this one last video. Did you watch this one already, Flip?
I don't know.
Last year, this company redesigning and simplifying their logo. And every time this happens, I beg people to go look up the 2009 Pepsi rebrand. Because I think all of us have the
yeah.
same question, which is what thought process goes into making a change like this? Because companies never radically change their logo. Like McDonald's is not going to replace their clown with a shark. It's always tweaking the same colors and designs. So if you're a normal person, you're thinking that in 2008, Pepsi's like, we ought to refresh this a little bit. And maybe had their designers come up with several variations and finally said, well, we like how this kind of makes the white stripe look like a mouth or something. Like it's kind of smiling at you. Where in reality, that tiny little tweak to their logo was a result of them paying allegedly over $1 million to a brand consulting firm called the Arnell Group. And after that tweak to the logo was met with some backlash, the design document was leaked, a 27-page long document that they allegedly presented to Pepsi with diagrams talking about how this new design taps into the gravitational energies of the universe. It straight up reads like the rantings of somebody having a literal breakdown. And it just goes on and on and on. And it's a glimpse into the kind of obsessive overthinking that goes into any kind of corporate decision. We're just changing the shape of that white stripe began with this graph demonstrating the intersection of convention, DNA, future, innovation. They labeled their redesign breathtaking, saying it was based on 5,000 years of design philosophy, with the graph pointing out how every element of their change borrows from some ancient design, and how they measured the perimeter oscillations of Pepsi logos in the past, and then went into how they had to match the magnetic fields of the planet to the Pepsi energy fields of the new logo, and how the new logo's Pepsi globe dynamics would match how the magnetic dynamics of the Earth are impacted by sun radiation and wind, and how the shape of our physical universe would tie to the shape of the Pepsi universe. $1 million and weeks worth of work to explain to a giant corporation why they should go from this to this. I'm telling you that whether or not you like the new logo, the reasoning behind the change would sound like the rantings of madmen.
Give me your perspective.
To go along with that, like I bet you anything that one of the reasons I think Colbert or somebody else was even saying this. Oh no, it was just this week. What's his name? The Dallas Mavericks coach, Mark Cuban, was saying he was admitting this, that Kamala Harris was tongue-tied and like a deer in the headlights when anybody talked to her, because if you asked her a question, you had to imagine in her brain that Pepsi rebrand going through her brain, because they have talked to her about every single possible little way that something could be perceived or done or looked at or viewed or said. And when she was talking through her words, you could tell she was tiptoeing around her words like that.
She's just got a bunch of game theory tech bros whispering into her ear. So it's difficult to say how smart or dumb she is, because like, she probably had so many conflicting voices whispering.
Oh, I
telling her what
guarantee
to
you.
do. And she's trying to constantly do all these calculations, and she just short circuits in the way that I probably would too.
I guarantee you she was consultant brained up the ass and could not think straight because of it. Anyway, Flip, I wanted you to stick around for that last little bit of woo, just to see if you had any thoughts or ideas about the woo in the world. Where did Flip already go?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm not seeing the screen. So.
All right. Wait, what am I looking at?
We were saying that's what I was making you stay through, is all the way through there. But we want to know if you had like any thoughts on all this woo or the slop that's.
I mean, I don't know. We've covered it. No, I guess I don't know. We're kind of. Will it ever end? That's kind of what I wonder. Is like, will it swing back?
How much of the alcohol world is just the same sort of slop going on? All of it?
Oh yeah. No. So like many years ago, like more than 10 years ago, a local distillery, as a joke, like the Five Wives. That's right, the Five Wives Distillery.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 year for Pride, they made the Five Husbands, and now they just make it all the time, all year round, and it sells more than anything else. You know, and also like I mean, there's a bunch of stuff where they literally like, oh, that's right, there's a canned wine, same thing. Like they did a one-off rainbow can, and then they ended up just producing it all the time, all year long, because people bought the rainbow can. I do remember 3 weeks ago, there was something I forgot to mention about beer, an important lesson for people to learn about beer, because I was talking about one of my favorite beers is Samuel Smith's Oatmeal Stout. When you put oatmeal in beer, it does nothing to the flavor. When your beer is made with oatmeal, it doesn't have anything to do with flavor at all. It's all about mouthfeel. Adding oats to beer just adds big fat protein molecules that make it thicker in your mouth. But that's what that's for. So like if you want like nice chewable beer, get oatmeal beer.
Chewable beer.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound good to me.
I love it.
No.
Anyway, sorry, I'm falling apart here. So
Alrighty.
You are dismissed.
Dismiss. Cool.
Anyway, back to I guess just this discussion on the Mormonism live discussion. Because I mean, these are just memes on the thing, the Cracker Barrel thing. It was endlessly memeable. Breakfast is an all-day thing here. The land acknowledgement, flapjacks,
Yeah.
grandma, grandpa's gender sampler. Don't assume my pronouns, dear. Anti-Semitic steak and eggs. Jews are white now. You hear?
This is MAGA country fried steak.
In this here house, we believe Jussie. Black Lives Matter biscuits. You won't be able to. Y'all won't be able to breathe after this meal. All right, that's too far. I'm sorry. I don't give a crap what happens to Cracker Barrel, but this is what I'm just saying is like this whole docuseries is these guys' attempt to do this with the church. And to go back to the Hegelian thing, like what makes the Hegelian dialectic different than the Platonic dialectic is the Platonic dialectic was always just like what you would thought is just like a fancy way to talk about a pleasant conversation of people who differ in beliefs. You know what I mean? You say your point of view, I say my point of view, and we both go our separate ways. Maybe we add something to it or not, right?
What's like the main difference between the Platonic dialectic and the Hegelian dialectic?
The Hegelian dialectic is you've seen that coil that like they draw it like it's a coil that goes over time. But the difference is it's the same thing, only you guys must come together to a synthesis. But then the trick is then you immediately re-up the dialectic. You know what I mean? So, and that's why it will forever lurch leftward. One of the things that that maybe it's like not talking like left or right, but there's this thing of like the fallacy of like the splitting of like the puppies. You have 10 puppies. You argue that we should kill no puppies. I argue we should kill all the puppies. We split and kill the 5 puppies. And then the Hegelian dialectic, I immediately say we should kill all these 5 puppies. And you say, no, back to the negotiation. No, we should not kill all the 5 puppies. No, we should kill. Well, okay, we will kill 2.5 of these puppies. No, okay, I
killed 2 of them and cut 1 in half.
Okay, I declare we should kill all the puppies, and now we're at 2.5. Like that's the Hegelian dialectic. It's just that it just immediately gets reposited the second that you come to a synthesis. Does that make sense?
The Hegelian dialectic is essentially just compromise.
It's kind of like it's compromise. It's supposed to be more of like I said, a Voltron monster of the 2 different ideas.
Sure,
but then it's like the contradictions are then accelerate the contradictions. You've heard that out of Marx, like accelerate so you immediately pose the question again. So if you're trying to come to like an agreement or a contractual like level of like, let's reach to this point of agree to disagree. Well, then you just immediately up the gambit again. Right. So it's constantly asked for like the next concession. And that's usually why it tends to lean towards statism or leftwards or something like that, because you can constantly say, think of the children, think of the children, think of the Hegelian dialectic is rethink of the children right after you concede every single time. Like, I concede we should have daily food for children. What about lunch? Think of the children. I concede we should have lunch for the children. Well, we should have dinner too. Think of the children. You know, that's the Hegelian dialectic more.
I see.
Whereas Platonic is just where it originated. Platonic didn't have like such like an end in mind. That's like with Hegel, it's like you're trying to get to the end of history by getting all the way there of we're just gonna check out all these contradictions and check them all out. And if you get to the Frankfurt Schoolers, they call it like negative dialectics, which is just like the absolute criticism of all things. And we can't even think of what the final thing's going to be like, because it's just going to be a finally dissected thing of all things that just got dissected and dissected and dissected and dissected all the way to the point of utopia. Utopia comes out of that, and that's literally how they viewed it. You can't even posit what utopia is, because if you posit it, it could immediately be dialectic. No, that's what they say. But a platonic dialectic is just having a conversation, coming to the maybe you learn something, maybe I learn something, but maybe also just going our separate ways and keeping our differences.
Yeah, you kill all your puppies, I'll kill none of mine.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, the whole conversation on Mormon discussions I thought was pretty interesting.
I don't
have clips of it or anything, but I don't know if we can like go over like how it all pretty much went down. I mean, you talked about John started explaining to them new pragmatism, which was the concept of he was telling them that a prophet, by his view, is somebody who maybe started things off in a wild or wacky way by making an extra claim of supernatural belief or whatever, or some sort of thing like that, but has proven to have some community that holds together.
That episode, they should have called it John the Iconoclast, really.
John the Iconoclast. And just explaining that, because that's such an is statement. It's not an ought statement. It's an is statement. It's just saying he's right. He's like, the people who get called prophets are the ones who were successful. Right.
Yeah. Well, and none of them really understood that he was making is statements instead of ought.
Yeah.
And they tried to get the ought out of him. It's like, oh, you're saying that this guy who like coerced a 14-year-old girl into marrying him can be a prophet. And he's like, yeah, like I'm defining prophet as somebody that basically inspires people, gets a community together, and that community ends up being good.
Inspires people into a lasting community.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, so
I see it broke their brain.
Yeah, you think it's okay that he got with that 14-year-old girl? No.
I'm saying they survived. Their community grew and survived. I'm saying,
and I would say he's going the wrong way with it, because he's trying to progressivize the church to keep more people in it. I would say, like he claimed that is one of the first times I've ever heard him say it. Maybe he said it before. I don't watch him all the time, but he did say that there's a lot of people who would be better off if they stay in the church.
Yeah, he said that.
And Bill Reel said one of the dumbest things he's ever said. He was like, no, I think that it's anywhere between 90 to 99% of Mormons would be better off if they left the church. Okay, man, that's ridiculous.
I'm going to I think he said after they've gone down like a rabbit hole.
Sure.
He was referring to the rabbit hole ones, not the non-rabbit hole ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to listen to it again,
but even then, like, I don't know if. But I think he was saying anybody who's gone like all the way down the rabbit hole, reading all the things, 90 to 99% of them would be better off or should go or something like that. But I mean, I think you're right that it doesn't make any sense even in that context, because Jim Bennett's video, obviously, his whole video is just kind of showing that no, there's plenty of people who stick around after getting all the way down the rabbit hole.
Well, and here I am on the outside trying to tell the Mormon church how to do its shit. But I'm like, just get rid of all the progressives.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to survive. I would like for you to survive, honestly, church. I would like for you to survive, because I think you're better than you're better than a lot of things.
Cracker Barrel is killing itself.
Yes.
The NFL is killing itself.
You keep letting in suicidal.
All of these things that turn stuff into the corporate future mush blob are I think the way Troy worded it over in the Longhouse is like they've been swallowed by a giant monster, and they're just getting dissected by the stomach acid, and there might be like a little bit of still like a visual frame, like just look at like that yellow barrel in the backyard, like there's an outline of the body still there in the stomach acid, but it's slowly just getting completely digested up. And that's until they're all the future white room where you can get served any sort of I guess burrito slop, church slop, or whatever slop. But it is a worldview. And one of the things that I really appreciated about this conversation is it was like the first time that John DeLynn was talking to people it's basically what we've been barking or trying to bark like across the void of our shadow banning, of just recognizing the water you're swimming in, you know. And that old joke by who's the writer, David Foster Wallace, like he gave like this speech about two fish are swimming along, and they're just swimming along, and some old fish swims by him and says, "How's the water today, boys?" And the two fish like stop and look at each other and goes, "What's water?" You know. And but that's what we've been barking just at John DeLynn since forever. It's like, no, you guys are inside of just like such a progressive liberal paradigm. You are in an echo chamber. You are in an episteme, as Foucault would put it, or a hegemony. Like, and it was the first time ever I saw DeLynn aware of it. Does that make sense?
If I hadn't been banned from his group, I would have asked, and I'm like, do you think a Mormon church full of, or even just like 60% populated with Jim Bennett's would survive, or would it crumble? It would definitely crumble. But like,
what would he think? Yeah. So like they always kind of like posit the thing of their ideas would save it, and no, it wouldn't. It would. I agree with like some of those things. Like they've got so much dang money. I don't know what way it would dissolve, but it would still dissolve. You know. I don't know exactly how. I mean, it would just turn. It would merge. It would the same way I don't know. Every single thing in the world. I was thinking about like all the stuff in the world that used to be has kind of gone through the same progression. I was thinking of Vegas. Like Vegas used to be this seedy, shitty place, and then it got like corporatized to it, and the corporate thing's worse than the seedy, shitty place. Does that make sense? And that's the sort of thing that I'm just kind of trying to describe, is like that the identity of that seedy, shitty thing, or the WWE and WWF as it was growing up, when it was like underground and hardcore, and they were using tacks and putting blood on their head and all that sorts of stuff, and had all these wild stories. Oh gosh, it was bad. It was sure toxically male. It was a million times better than the corporate slop they put out now. You know?
Starbase Collab says Jim is active because choir practices during his ward's time.
Yeah, if these guys get what they are looking for, and I think even Steve Pinecker was trying to kind of warn them of that, because they've seen like other things about it, and even Jacob tried to dismiss it, because we're obviously talking from a place of a materialist place. You know what I mean? We're not talking like, we're not assuming that there's like for sure like a guided hand from a god in this situation here or something like that. We don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe we're wrong.
Maybe the Mormons are right. Who knows?
Yeah, but if it gives up its identity, the salt will lose its savor. It will go away. It'll go the way of the dodo.
So here's a good example. So Socrates Random. I'm not sure if that's a regular person or not. I don't recognize it, but he said, yeah, but don't you think they're doomed either way? Keeping that amount of fundamentalism is just going to have them run into a wall. And I explained this to my wife when I was telling her about that John DeLynn, because I told her, I was like, man, John DeLynn was actually on fire on that episode. He didn't say a single thing. Well, okay, he didn't say hardly anything that I disagreed with, because he was doing the same thing that I do, trying to argue like basically pro-Mormonism from a pragmatic sense,
from
right?
a 10,000 foot view. Like I feel like they never like stop and look at it from like this way higher view of.
Well, yeah, but and the way I explained it was, he goes a different direction than I do. His direction is saying we need to progressivize the church, because like you can stay in the church and have the community and all that stuff, because like Jim Bennett is a progressive Mormon and stuff like that. My argument is that I don't think you can do that, because I'm pretty sure the church will just collapse in the way that all churches collapse when they become too progressive. But my direction is like just paralysis. I don't really know what the fuck to do. I don't know what to tell people, because most people I know who want to like leave the church, I'll be like, well, don't. And they'll be like, well, is it true? And I'm like, what? No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but probably not. The Mormon Church has a lot of difficulties in that it makes a lot of claims that take place in the material world that are fairly easily disprovable. No matter how many times Cardin says that these things have been debunked for over 150 years. Like, there's a lot of things that you're like, wait a minute, there's no fucking way the Nephites had a battle where the Jaredites had a battle where 1 million people died in it in one day in upstate New York. There's just a lot of shit like that. So it's I think that in order for religion to be effective, you do have to believe in it literally.
Yeah.
And I think it's very difficult to believe in the Mormon church literally. So that's where my paralysis comes in. John DeLynn is saying we should take the church in a different direction. I'm saying it'll crumble if you take it in that direction. But honestly, I don't know what the hell to do with it. I would just rather these people believe something that I'm pretty sure isn't true.
Yeah, I just like I said when I was on with Jacob, like one of the 2 times I think I was on with him, maybe just once, but I was saying that if there's somebody who's trying to just take the pragmatic thing, they shouldn't be a leader. Like, I think the leader should be a true believer. Somebody's being pragmatic, they're being political, and that's what Jim Bennett is being. And I don't think I should be in there being some political person in that church any more than Jim Bennett or Dan McClellan should be. It should be people who just actually believe it, and that's the only way pragmatics work, baby. You know what I mean? But
Starbase Collab says Kimura's battle isn't in New York unless you're a Heartlander. And I'm like, I'm pulling an example out of my ass, but there's a lot of them. I think my understanding is, I'm pretty sure Joseph Smith thought that it happened in like the continental US. That's what I would guess. And you could argue that, like, yeah, even if he thought that, maybe he was wrong about it. You know, it wasn't super important for him to know where this happened. It was more important for him to know that it happened. So yeah, you could say that. But also, there's just a lot of things. There's the horses. There's the steel. There's, it's a really difficult sort of contemporary mountain to climb.
One of my ways, of just kind of like throwing a truth thing out to like the Mormons, because like I see like Colby and RFM going to like all the detail. I even like appreciate their detail, and I find it interesting. Or Dan Vogel's last week, he went into the Book of Abraham and all that stuff. I find it interesting, but I don't feel the need to go into all that detail because I don't want to ruin any Mormon's faith here or anything like that when I say this. But there's this thing that came up that was really shocking to me, and it was this thing where an angel Moroni appeared. That's like as far as that's as much as I had needed to ever hear to say, oh yeah, that's the part that I don't believe. You know what I mean? Oh, I didn't want to reveal that to anyone. That might be deep secret lore that you didn't know is part of. Wait, no, it's just there. It's a fantastical claim of a fantastical thing that happened, and I don't like if you're somebody who's arguing from an atheistic standpoint, like why do you even need to get past that? You know what I mean? Like, you don't believe in angels. Like the end. Like, do we have to go into like detail about like all the other stuff? Really? If you are somebody who wants to sit there and debunk all that sort of stuff, but because it's like getting into like the nitty gritty about Nahum or some sort of thing like that. It's like, and I think that's something where Jacob makes the good point. Like when he argues about those levels of discussion. Like Jacob says, well, if God is there, if that God thing is there, and it could be anything, then it's a whole different discussion when you get to the next level of it. You know what I mean? So if you believe that first thing, well, then a whole lot more magical stuff can happen with the second thing. And then if you believe that second thing, a whole lot more magic can happen with the third thing. I know you believe in like God, maybe the angels and that sort of stuff. Do you believe the Jesus-y stuff?
You're talking to me? I haven't really dug into the Jesus-y stuff. Honestly, I almost
just like regular Jesus, like because I've been like reading Real Christianity with Risto and all that sorts of stuff.
So I read Mere Christianity like 10 years ago, and when I read it, I did find because it's basically him going from atheist to deist, deist to theist, theist to Christian, right? And I followed him basically to theist. And after that, I was like, but I don't know how convincing the rest of this stuff is. I like the Jesus story. And I think, like, again, pragmatically speaking, I think the Jesus story is the best story. And so if you're going to believe something, believe that thing. I don't know that I believe it, and I think at some point I just should. I should just be like, yeah, I believe it now, because I think I'd be better off.
There's Colby, but he says he's way behind, so he's probably back there a couple hours. But he says he 100% treated Jim differently than with Jacob and Austin, but we've had positive exchanges with Jim, and he's willing to actually talk to me. I don't know. I know that you're friends. I give that all pass. I give that whole discussion of yesterday
No, I told Colby, I
a
was like,
passing grade. I thought that was good at X
yeah,
Mormon World.
the whole thing was pretty good. I told him, I was like, yeah, I can't fucking stand Jim. He's like, oh, I've always liked him. He said I still asked him the question that allowed him to be honest, something I have never seen from Jacob once, that he doesn't really think there's good evidence. He also admitted he doesn't believe the Book of Mormon. On that reason, what more am I going to say on that point? Yeah, no, that's a good point. But we were just talking basically about how like it's difficult because if you're going to be like into pragmatic religiosity, I really think you have to believe in it literally. And so maybe that's what Jacob's trying to do, and Jim is trying to progressivize the church, and I just think progressivizing the church is going to make it. I think it's going to make it crumble like it has a lot of other churches. What's Socrates random? What he said something up here in response to that. He said, "Where is it?" He said, "I think that wasn't it." I can't find the comment right now, but he was basically just saying like, well, I mean, they did sort of progressivize on like polygamy and blacks in the priesthood, and that didn't make them collapse. So I get that. I don't know. It just does seem like there's probably a threshold somewhere.
I just have to say that, but as much like a kind of a crap we give Jim Bennett or whatever, one of our more liked discussions in the X-Mormon world came from his documentary. So was he successful? Probably so, I guess, for that, because that's what he said he was trying to do, right? And
documentary was weird, but
it brought out a discussion that I thought was one of the more interesting and fun discussions in the X-Mormon.
Honestly, one of my favorite comments from that was, I can't remember exactly what she said. Rebecca Biblioteca couldn't be there because she had some family stuff going on, but she left like a note with RFM to ask Jim Bennett. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of like, you seem to be defending a version of Mormonism that doesn't exist, which is basically what Jeremy Runnels said about Jim Bennett's response to the CES letter. And I think that's true. What are you defending? You don't seem to be defending Mormonism. You're defending a version of it that's in your head. And Jim tries to go all Foucault on it and just be like, well, everyone has their own version of Mormonism. You do, but also like I watched this fat activist. She was bitching about Southwest Airline recently changed their policy to say that if you're too fat for one seat, because the policy was for a little bit that if you're too fat for one seat, they'll give you another seat for free if you pre-book it. And then they said, no more of that. And it was, they used the word encroach. They said, if you encroach on into the other person's seat. And so she really latched onto that word and tried to go all postmodern with it. Encroaching. She said, that's very subjective. Encroaching. What does that mean exactly? What are you trying to say by encroaching? And the top comment was actually really good. It's like the best refutation of postmodern word games that I could think of. And it was just some guy saying, you're right, it is kind of subjective. But when you say encroaching on somebody else's seat space, I would say that 9 out of 10 people would picture relatively the same thing. And if that guy had been friends with Derrida, I think he would have been less of a fuck up.
Anyway, back to all this. I think one of the things that are we even arguing? It isn't even an argument. Just one of the things we know about this whole entire thing is that the Mormon Church can't turn into the thing that they want to turn it into. And I think that those arguments were made pretty well on both sides, like last night of those. Like it can't do it, not just because it would abolish, or like we talked about last week, how it wouldn't make any sense with their doctrine and all that sort of stuff. They also can't do it just because it wouldn't survive. It can't turn into what Jim Bennett wants it to turn into.
There's like a ratio of orthodoxy to universalism that a church has to strike up. And it's like a really fine line to walk, because the universalist churches are all kind of dying out. And those are the ones that are willing to put up pride flags and stuff like that. If the Catholic Church started putting up pride flags during Mass and becoming more universalist, I feel like they would start collapsing in the same way that those churches did.
So something worth looking into. I brought it up on here before, but it might be something that people would be curious about. But one of the things we're talking about with the universal Unitarianism, he even brought up that he thinks the church should move more towards the universal Unitarianism thing.
Who did?
But, Jim Bennett brought it up last night. I think he said those exact words, or maybe it was on Steve Peineker's show, because I'm blending the two of them together. However, if you look up Curtis Yarvin's How Dawkins Got Pwned, it might be worth a read and a listen to entirely, not just because it goes into the detail about how whatever the progmo and exmo unification on stuff is, he talks about that in like a sort of anthropological way as the 2.0 of a religion. Like that comes together and becomes the universal Unitarianism. And the people preaching and pushing for that are 100% kind of preaching into like a new sort of futuristic gospel of some sort of thing that's like a Hegelian synthesis of the entire thing. But beyond that, Curtis Yarvin is something. He's Mencius Moldbug. He's the guy that everybody's all freaking out about because he's got the ears of Peter Scheel and that Palantir stuff, and he's one of the JD Vance's supposed big voices of the future ideas of monarchy and all that stuff. We brought him up on here a whole lot of other time, but you might get familiar just with some of his. Well, it was one of his most famous original writings, but I think he has a point in it that this is where the concept of the cathedral came out, which that cathedral is universities, mainstream media, all that sorts of stuff. You can get into some detail of the high-minded woke right ideas of what supposedly how Dawkins got pwned. This is it. How Dawkins got pwned right there. But it also just kind of makes the point of that the atheism of that stuff, along with the progressive Christianity of that stuff, just forms kind of a new universe. It forms a new thing that is not different than just another religion.
I find myself, I don't know, the whole, it feels like the biggest antidote to the Hegelian dialectic is Chesterton's fence. And it's difficult because I never know exactly when to set up a Chesterton's fence. So I find myself doing it very conservatively, because I'll even see, like right now, there's a lot of missionary. I hated my mission. I hated every fucking second of it. It was dog shit. I didn't want to go. I did it because of pressure, but I also, I still kind of find myself when I see modern missionaries doing like TikToks and shit like that. I'm almost kind of like, I don't know if you're going to get the experience that, because there's some people who like their missions. I don't know how. I have no goddamn clue how you could like a mission, but what it seems to be, I know there's the ones that lie about it, but it seems to be a more common experience than not that you actually enjoyed your mission. I don't understand it at all, but I think it does good things for people in some ways. And I'm almost like, I don't know. Maybe it was okay that you could only call your family twice a year. Maybe it was okay that you couldn't be on social media for those 2 years.
Well, it's always so strange the way that you can kind of reframe things. But Risto was mentioning to us that he wished his kids, he's a Nevermo, and he's got like a part of him that wishes his kids had something like that that was on the docket for them to go face and take on. Just from not maybe from the secular world, maybe some other religions.
I think there are definitely some things about a mission that should have been changed. I think they should treat you somewhat like an adult, and they do not.
Well,
they treat you like a 2-year-old who has just absolutely no moral agency at all and is completely untrustworthy.
It's such a weird thing because this is all in the same ballpark. Because I'm watching these shows on the NFL and the NBA. John Stockton just came out and he caused all sorts of trouble because he was talking about how soft the current day NBA is. Because the current day NBA takes 20 games off a year. And you can always like look at this stuff. Like each player has like 20. They have sick days or something like that. Each of them has like wellness days that they take off. John Stockton played 17 years without missing a game. You know, and
Did he really?
Oh yeah, it was like that. Well, no, he broke his leg, so he was one of the strongest ones. But like 14 years in, he broke his leg and missed like a little bit of the first season. But he was one of the longest running without missing a game, and Karl Malone was up there too. But there's something to be said for how tough those guys got back then, or were made, and then there's something to be said of like, yeah, well, maybe that was a bit overkill too, and I feel just like everything in this world, going back to what Mary Harrington says, is like there's no progress. There's no progress. There's only trade-offs. Yeah. That's all we're doing. We're just trading things off and cycling and circling around and coming to figure out different things about ourselves, facing different levels of options in the world. That's all it really is.
Oh, joy. I do think that some of the I don't know. I read a couple of books by Robert Moore. He was a sort of a Jungian guy, and he would talk about one of the things that's missing in modern society is like elders, as in like sort of the shaman type dude that you look up to, and rite of passages. And I do think that in some way the mission can be a rite of passage. Also, we're incels. I don't know if you noticed that, but we're incels again.
Yeah, I saw that.
Anyway,
there's just something to it. Like every single thing that I go watching, it's like there is something better. Like something got nerfed, something got softened, something got improved, something, and then something's lost in that at the same time. You know what I mean? And it just feels like that's how it is with everything. Like there's not this progressive arc towards the future of the things only getting bigger and better. And
well, it's difficult because one of the examples the guy uses in like a rite of passage is some type of a tribe that when you had your coming of age ceremony where you become a man, you have to stick your arm into like a nest of fire ants and not flinch. And in my mind, I'm like, I would never do that. Like I would never let my kid do that. But also, like maybe it'd be a good thing if I did that. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's something. Okay, so going back further, it's just like all we're really saying is there's something to think about of what's lost if you lose that religion and how much of it really did help build and form the society around you, based around like a shared myth or something like that. And this is where I talk about like the Spangler and Toynbees of the world who went through. Again, if this is a repeat, sorry, it's a repeat, but people talk about the Fowler stages of faith. Like that's almost kind of like the same perspective of the progress of history. It only goes one direction, just up to Star Trek. But it's actually true to like what Benson said. It's a cycle, you know, and the next step after some very, very progressive philosophical faith is what happened to Islam, a reverse into something psychotically orthodox. And that's the cycle of history.
Yeah, Risto said 100% bullet ant gloves. I don't know, maybe because like at this point, I know we've nerfed everything too much because like my kid is gonna start. He's 7 years old and he's gonna start piano lessons, and the woman lives close enough that he could walk there in like 10 minutes, and we're like trying to like. We're going to walk him there to show him where it is. And we want him to be able to do it on his own. And I'm fucking terrified. I don't want to do it at all. I'm like, what if he doesn't look both ways when he crosses? What if he gets lost? We got to put a GPS on him. It's fucking terrifying. And we live in a very safe suburb.
What was that thing that Jonathan shared with us? And I'd seen this before, but Jonathan shared with us this concept that there's a couple different religions where the people had endured far more boredom than most religions, and that became a major predictor of later success in their life because they were able to endure more. I mean, those are real studies that you can find and see. Yeah, those studies.
We endured a lot of boredom.
Enduring a boring religion is a predictor of high later success in the world. It really, really is. And these are like the types of things like you don't know of like what you're trading off or what you're getting rid of in the world. Like one of the things they talked about a whole lot last night is like, yeah, the individuality of, and this is one of the larger arguments that's happening in the world across like that liberal and that post the woke right or the actual kind of people like pushing that stuff is what's tribal and what's individual, and can individuals actually ever survive against stuff that becomes tribal or something like that. But if you're just going off of your individual truth and what's good for you, and all of us are just doing that, how long before the glue that was your society just starts completely falling apart? And this is something that I say Toynbee and Spangler right in their long anthropologies and histories of the world, is that's happened a million different times in a million different civilizations. And the next stage after a very, very high philosophical religion is the death of that society. Just like Troy was saying over there, like idiocracy is real. It's real in like a lot of different ways in all sorts of cycles, and like what's going on or what's happening around us. And that's why I don't know. But the thing is, like, I don't feel like I have like an ought in any of this. Is just except for the Chesterton's fence. Like you said, like I ought not know what you're wishing for. I really don't think
it's like I don't know. You kind of nailed it a couple weeks ago when you said, "I'm not a Trumper. I'm a Trump calm the fuck downist." Yeah. And I feel that with a lot of things, but with religion especially. I'm not a religious guy. I'm a religion calm the fuck downist. I'm a religion. Let's hold on, for the love of God. Hang on, just a second before we change our entire societal structure.
Yeah, wait and see
a utopia that doesn't exist.
You don't know like what you might be undoing, and not even just the simple fact that like you could go down the road of, if everything really is social construction like leftists say it is, if you get rid of those high demand religions, you'll get rid of what's making people gay. Because you guys are the ones that think that it's just a reaction to what happens to you societally and not naturally. Well, if you are somebody who buys into queer theory, which I think things are more part of nature than that, but
well, and it's even if you believe that everything is socially constructed, like if you're a pure blank slatist that thinks that every disparate outcome is due to oppression or societal influence, right? You still probably believe in evolution, so you should understand that these things have to be like, this would have to be done very incrementally, very slowly. Like if we can, I mean, I got in an argument with a dude at work about the different sexual proclivities of men and women, and because I told him, as he was basically saying that like, oh yeah, if the societal boundaries weren't in place, just as many women would be promiscuous as men, and I was like, no, evolutionary psychology exists. It's even if I was a pure blank slatist and I thought that the sexual proclivities of men and women were basically a blank slate, and the only reason women were like less into promiscuous sex because of social conditioning, and if I believe that they should be equaled out, I would understand that this is evolutionary. I mean, well, okay. I'm getting a little bit lost in this, because you would have to do it so incrementally, because we've been societally conditioned for centuries on this. So we would have to, in theory, societally condition people for centuries out of that.
I think you're like, Brett and Heather Hang's book is just about the warnings of all the hyper novelty that's around us, and just assuming that like totally revamping and redoing anything, even just like stuff like your screens and that sort of stuff, or pornography or something like that. Maybe the church is a bit right of watch it with the pornography stuff.
Well, the church it went in our day. It went a little bit too far with the porn. It made it sound like basically heroin, when it probably should have treated it more like, I don't know, alcohol or cigarettes or something. Not like heroin, like cigarettes. Still a bad thing. Maybe cool it with the porn. You're not going to hell for the porn. You're not the worst person in the world because you like boobs. You're just a guy. Guys like boobs. That's fine. But it's probably not really
Brett
good
was saying that he feared more that his kids would rewire their brains with porn than if they were smoking cigarettes. He said, "I'd rather you smoke cigarettes." But he was kind of making it a joke. This is kind of like a funny crack on EvoPsych, which is something to think about of like the type of fallacy that can be made by EvoPsych. But evolutionary psychology is the new phrenology. EvoPsych be like, Italians seem to be genetically predisposed to be Pope, probably driven by the sexual competition of the Roman period. I mean, that is the type of fallacy that does happen in EvoPsych, but it doesn't mean that that's the only type of read Steve Stewart Williams' book, The Ape That Discovered the World, to see
Understood the universe.
Understood the universe. The final 2 chapters get into the proofs for it. But Charles says he feels the exact same way. I just don't know how to reconcile the fact that I don't believe and I'm not really interested in believing. Well,
that was my conversation. If Colby's still here, I had a brief chat with him.
I think
was
Colby
talking
was
about
way behind on us. So
yeah, I think
he was talking to
he
like
said that or he's
us
gone.
an
But
hour ago.
He mentioned, because I told him, I was actually really impressed with John DeLynn, and because he kept bringing up basically religious pragmatism, and he did say like, oh yeah, I agree with him that I see many pragmatic reasons to be religious. I just don't want to do it.
I don't know that.
And I'm telling you,
I don't know that pragmatism's good. Like, I don't know that.
Well, I'm telling you, that's where I am basically. Is that, well, you know,
I think pragmatism is a good descriptor for why you should slow your roll at yoinking it away from somebody else. Does that make sense? Like, I was running a marathon one time. It was one of those like Ragnar races where you trade off with a group of people, and it's like overnight and stuff. It's a really long marathon. And one of the girls in our group kind of hurt her leg a little bit, right? Stop me if I told the story before, but she kind of hurt her leg a little bit and thought she wasn't gonna be able to go on. And then somebody gave her the blue tape for the leg. And they gave her the blue tape, and I was like, you know, little atheist, red atheist brain me, like, well, actually, you know, type of thing. I started going. My older brother, who knew the tape was bullcrap, just like grabbed me, like, stop. You know, I was like, what? And like, watch. And she finished her leg of the race. You know what I mean? And there was part of me that was just kind of like, I don't think that would have worked if I would have just like gone and yoinked it away from her or something like that.
Socrates Random asked, did you guys get the Ted Bundy porn story? I got that from Young Men's Leaders probably 4 to 5 times. Yeah, I got that less from Young Men's and more just like from friends posting.
I heard that one around.
I did hear it a few times growing up, and I don't know. The last time I heard it was like right as I was leaving the church, and I was like, dude, he didn't murder a bunch of women because he watched porn. His brain is fucking fried. All right, like the porn probably didn't help, but I feel like the heavy lifting here is the psychopathy.
I have a warning about porn that might be a good warning on why to never watch porn or see porn on the internet.
Hey, I'm
do,
good.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, because it's cringe.
It is not cringe. I'm not.
No. I'm saying because porn is cringe.
No, it's actually maybe freakier than you could imagine. Here,
we had a case once where they charged a guy with child. And it was a video of a girl in a bikini from ESPN Sports page. The FBI, they didn't see the video before they charged him because the hash value matched and they ran with it anyway. Let me break this down to you in a very simple way what file hashing is. If I take the painting of the Mona Lisa and I draw lines on it vertically and horizontally, and then take the speck of paint from where those lines intersect 1.2 million times, I go to Sherwin-Williams and I have a paint code match each one. What you end up with is a very unique set of numbers and letters. And those hashes, they store in a database called the Innocent Images database. It is all the files they've ever had in every case. So when they look at the computers and find out the hashes match illegal files, they assume the content is the same. Guess who's adding to the database now? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and most people don't know this, but the Lutheran Church actually does content moderation for some of the social media companies. So you have individuals that work for a church, paid for by a church that has a contract with the social media companies to do content moderation to decide what's a child or not. So in this case, they had the wrong description on it and they ran with it anyway.
Subscribe to the
I guess that like might not even be necessarily porn or accidental porn, but I've heard many different people talk about like, how do you know that you're not already blackmailable just by something that came up in a Google search engine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and you didn't even like search it at all or something like that. All you searched was pretty blonde porn or something like that.
Oh
and,
man, there was
it put it in there for you, and now you are something they could if you were ever in trouble in any way.
There was there's been a couple times on Facebook where there's people that'll try to prank you, and the prank is like search chicken fart on Google, you'll thank me later. And if you search
lemon party,
something, I don't know what it is.
I know lemon party. Lemon party
different...
was one of like two old gay guys.
No. This is like code words for like child porn.
Oh, it's child.
They'll put code words for child porn in so that when you Google it, like you'll get a message being like, you shouldn't be looking this up. The FBI is like monitoring this shit or something. You're like, ah, God damn it. That's not a prank. You're trying to put me on the sex offender registry, you stupid jackass.
Yeah, well, beyond any sort of that stuff, the more you dilly-dally or dabble in that stuff, I bet you the more you could be exposed to stuff that's even completely like a fake or not real allegation, but something that you could get twisted around for.
Yeah, well, one of the better arguments against porn, I think it was Jonathan Pajot, that was basically said, it's like if you've watched a bunch of porn, you've probably jerked off to someone being raped at some point. You didn't know it, but you probably did. And you're like, ooh, okay. Ooh.
No, that's good. But pragmatism, I remember like Forrest was talking about that as kind of some of that pragmatic stuff. Some of the stuff we repeat like a whole lot, but it could be like it's patronizing. But I'm just kind of generally saying like, that's why I say like, I think I'm believing a pragmatic truth out there. Like, I think right now I believe in something that's not true, and I use it as a crutch to get through to something. Does that make sense? I believe I don't believe I'm above that. I believe that's happening to me right now. But then I totally believe that there's some things in the world that like finding out the truth about it. And I was able to, like, I stopped taking creatine because I think creatine is, I think the studies for it are kind of bunk. And I hated taking it for years. You know what I mean? I bet you if you took a bunch of creatine and thought it was really, really working for years, you might have gone in and worked out harder. I bet you there was a pragmatic use for creatine all that time you thought it worked.
So, okay, while we're on the subject of diet, I was going to ask you about this. So let's say you've got a woman who's 5'6" and 31 years old. What is a good calorie deficit for her?
5'6" and 31 years old?
Yeah.
The same calorie deficit for anybody. Like the amount of calories? Or
yeah, what would be like a good...
Like a daily amount, or
if
like
she wants,
the amount less of the daily amount?
What would be the good daily amount for a woman that wants to lose weight, who's 31 years old, 5'6", and I like...
How many pounds?
Like, I don't know, 150?
Oh, like 12 to 1,500.
Okay. Yes. Morgan has been very, very frustrated with her family lately because she's been very proud of herself because since she gave birth on July 16th, she's lost 30 pounds. And she's been really excited about that because she's been very good about, eating. She'll eat anywhere from 1,500 to 1,800 calories a day. She's not trying to lose weight fast. She's just like, you know what? I'll just eat carefully, right? And anytime she tells her family about the amount of weight that she's lost in that amount of time, they think she has like an eating disorder. Like, you guys, how do you guys think that we fucking survived? Like how do you think that we survived the caveman era if you eating 1,500 calories a day for a week could kill you? I've gotten that from people anytime. I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to do a 2-day fast where I just drink water for 2 days. And like, oh my God, you're going to die. Like, we would have been killed out. Are you fucking retarded? Like, humans wouldn't survive if they couldn't go 2 days without eating food.
Does anybody want to learn the entirety of how to become a bodybuilder that you ever needed? And I bet you I could do it in 4 to 5 minutes.
Do it.
And you don't need any other sort of exercise in the world ever unless you have certain dietary restrictions or allergies.
Christopher said it's also way different for someone who just gave birth. I was like, yeah, it's funny because they're like, oh, you you lost like 5 pounds a week or something crazy like that. And she's like, well, like if you average it out, yeah, but like probably about 13 pounds was immediately because of a baby and a placenta that came out of me. So just give me a break here. I'm not starving myself.
So basal metabolic rate, BMR, you can find a calculator online. This is the rate that your body burns calories if you were in a coma, just lying there. So you just like look up the what were the calculations you gave for her again? We'll just do her.
Yeah, dude, female 5, so 31. Actually 32. Sorry, I guess it doesn't matter that much, but
yeah, it wouldn't change much.
5'6". I can't remember how much. Just do 150 pounds so she doesn't get mad at me.
Oh, is that the whole thing's got to be in inches, or is that just saying? Like what? How many inches is 5'6" off the top of your head? 60, 70.
I don't know.
12 times 6 is.
Here, I'll just do this. 5'6" in inches. 66 inches.
Yeah, that was about right. 60. That's what that's asking for, right? 6'6", and what was the weight you said?
Just do 150.
So you calculate that 1,407 calories a day. Now that is again you're in a coma. You're in a coma there, right? So this calculator used to have to go to a separate page to do this, but look, they put it together here now. I used to like somebody that was called like I think it was the Harris-Benedict calculation. There's like multiple different ways to calculate this. Gives you just a little bit different numbers, no big deal. Then you take what is your TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, which just means if you work out or move, so you can lose weight if you do no exercise or all the exercise in the world. All you need to do is like find out what your daily in a coma rate is, add in what actual movement you do. So little to no exercise, you can tack on a few hundred to that. Or if you work out 3 times a week and you walk a bunch of days, you can tack on up to 500 or 600 onto that. So then that is the amount that you want to daily cut 3 to 500 of. You do not want to go under 3 to 500 of that. That's why I said, like, if she's not doing any exercise off the top of my head, I was saying she'd probably be at 1,500-ish. You can maybe sometimes go a little lower. I wouldn't go crazy lower. So, like, if you looked at hers, if she's exercising 1 to 3 times a week, or she was doing little to no exercise, 1,200 to 1,500, I was exactly right.
Yeah. No, well, there's also the breastfeeding. Breastfeeding burns a shit ton of calories, too. So
yeah. So, and
I don't know what her actual weight is. I just said 150 is a base. So
sure.
If you're listening to this,
well, I was going off of the numbers. I was going off the numbers that you gave me. I actually think that
I know.
I actually do believe that she's less than that if you give me those numbers, because I've seen her. But I wouldn't know off the top of my head. Anyway, all you would want to do for an extended period of time, like just actually 12 weeks, you're an evolutionary being. Give your body 1 season, 12 weeks, 1 season. Your body is designed to go from a hibernating bear to a murdering panther in a season. Just give it a season of staying right under that. It will change. It will change big time in 1 season, 12 weeks.
Charles said exactly. And when I lift weights, my body sends me clear signals to eat more protein. Like, you know what? That's one of the craziest things. Anytime I fast, like if I don't eat for a whole day, when I get home, I really want to eat. But the thing I crave the most is just like a cooked egg yolk. Like if I just had like 5 cooked eggs right there, I just like jam the yolks into my mouth right away. It sounds like the most amazing meal ever.
Well, so that's trick number 1, and then part 2 of all that you would ever need to know is the breakdown of like how you should do your macros. Your micros are like, if you go talk to any sort of nutritionist, they're going to get all caught up in the micros. They're micros for a reason. They don't matter. That's all the vitamins. That's all the whatever. All you really need to care about is the macros. You might need a couple micros if you're sensitive or something to some sort of thing, or deficient somewhere. Probably pretty rare. But the macros are just your proteins, your carbohydrates, and your fats. Proteins and carbohydrates are about four calories per gram, and fat is about 9 calories per gram. So with that amount of calories that you have, what you want to do is called like your macro split, which is you try to get your protein high. So you make your protein about like, especially when you're cutting really high, 40 to 50% of that, really high. And then you can toy with the fat or the calories around with that, with the rest of the 50%. Some people do when I'm cutting, I'll cut the fat really low. So I'll be like almost 60% protein, 30% carbohydrate, 10% fat. And that's it. And if you do that, you become shredded. All you need to do is lift. When you lift, all you need to do is make your muscles hurt. You don't need to lift more. You don't need to lift bigger. You just need to, I want this muscle to grow, so I will make this muscle move till it hurts. That's really all it is. That you can like look up online the way to make that muscle hurt if you want to do it. Good form. Just make it so you feel it. Just do that. You will become a bodybuilder shredded if you can just do that for a long period of time. That's it. That's all you ever need to know. You don't need a trainer. You don't need nothing. You don't need anybody. You do like a 3-day split or a 5-day split. Just work into your like that calorie rate, how much exercise you're doing. That's it.
I can't
That's
do
it.
anything.
You don't need a trainer ever again.
I can't do anything that many days in a row.
Well, I just told you the entirety of like what all those guys are selling, all those different things before every different show and all that different stuff. I took 0. I got onto the stage. I took second in state twice in Utah, taking 0 supplements. 0, never, not one. Well, I guess I took the creatine, but that was bullcrap. I don't take creatine anymore.
That's kind of what I do anytime I lift weights. That's actually the exact thought that I had. I was like, I don't really know a routine to do, so I'm just gonna hurt the muscles I want to get bigger. So, that hurts this muscle. I'll keep doing that.
That's all it is, and all I ever say
And
is
it's just
the
dumbbells.
flip and that stuff is lean into it. Like if ever anybody came with me to the gym, they'd be upset because I wouldn't let them go past, especially like the first couple weeks. I'd say just go too light because your body's just kind of getting used to the motions, and then after that, just lean on it. Never, I have never once in 15 years needed to go in the gym. I've never once have put myself in that spot. It's always just been leaning on it. Just yeah, leaning on it. That's about it.
Sound like a Zelda character.
And it says, Starbase Cola is right. The first newbie gains are the best gains you'll ever have. You'll gain a whole lot of muscle just in the first year of it, and then you just stay consistent. You just keep going with it. I should announce on my birthday last week, I hit 15 years without missing a lift. That's 5-day split for 15 years. That happened by not thinking about it. I did not think of getting to 15 years. I'm still going and running on it right now. Well, I don't know what happened. Somewhere around the age of 31, because I went to 46. I said, I'm going to not miss. And then I just did it. And that's how you do that. I don't know. I don't know how I did it. Like it just goes and goes and goes and goes. So, and not once in those 15 years did I go red-faced. Not once. And I competed multiple times on stage and placed high. You don't need to. You do not need to ever just be more than, yeah, that's pretty good. Failure, when you're lifting, failure does not mean, oh, I fell and I dropped it. Failure means you failed the form. Like, here's my 8th one. That last one kind of went dumb. Like, I'm failing it. Now I can move on or do the next set. That's it. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Well, hot damn.
Yeah, you can get a little bit more intense in lifting, but by the time
I think
I
actually think the main reason that you've never gone is because I think one of the one of the ways that I'm very similar to you is cringe aversion.
I will bark at people at the gym to shut up if they do that. Like I do not confront people very much, but at gyms I become Larry David. I become Larry David, and I walk up to people and I go, "Yeah, you thought you should get on the treadmill right next to the guy on the treadmill when there's 5 other treadmills down by the treadmill? You thought you'd do that? You know. Oh, you think if you grunt real loud that you're gonna get like suddenly huge overnight? You really think that's how it works? Is that what's gonna happen here?" Yeah, I go crazy in the gyms, and maybe that's how I get it done. Is because I hate it so much. I get in there and I'm like, "Get me out of here! Get me out of here now!" That's how I did church too. And how you become a better person: do things you hate, do things you hate, do things you hate. I don't know. Did you? I had this on the screen. We brought this up. Do you know Jim Norton married like a trans person?
Yeah.
We brought that up the other week. I was like, what? And he's got a podcast called Sword Fight.
I've heard Anthony Cumia joke about it pretty frequently.
I'm gonna share. I'll just share one picture before I competed.
There's a woman I work with who had 3 sons, but then one of them came out as trans, so is now the daughter, right? And it was funny because I was talking about how my dad was annoyed that none of his kids got taller than him, because there's 6 of us, and I'm the tallest, and I'm like 5'10", and my dad's like 6'1". And I was like, well, you married a family of midgets, so I don't know what you expected, jackass. And we're just kind of joking around about that at work because my dad works with me. And that woman was like, yeah, most of my kids got taller than my husband, but ironically enough, it was the girl that got the tallest, and I couldn't help. Like, I didn't laugh, but it was very difficult to not laugh. Ironically enough, the male.
I don't know how that works. This is how I looked before I competed on the first day. That was like 33. So that was like 2 years into not missing. And do you want to know what I did for all that? That is lifetime natty. Never touched any sort of thing. I lifted as a power lifter, as a football player when I was younger, and then lifted on and off through my 20s. But this was just every single day, 5 days a week. Not longer than an hour in the gym, just kind of making each muscle kind of like, and then cutting the diet down across a season, 12 weeks. That had some cardio added in with it. That's it. There was no other. That's it. There was no supplement, no any sort of anything. Just diet. That's it. And just the macro count and all that stuff. And that's what I'm hoping to look like one day. Like if I go for another 15 years, I'll catch up to Divas in the self-destruct picture or in most of his AI. I had some funny ones, but I'm getting close to the point where I got to walk. I still got 10 minutes, but did you want to see an autistic hero of the week?
Of course. Oh, yeah.
Wait, who do you think is going to be?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Scottish girl.
Oh, the girl? Yeah, she is too. But yeah, she should be the number 1 winner. But here's
the real speed.
Okay, watch this guy.
I'm going to calculate.
Have you seen this guy before?
No.
Okay. Well,
this is why you should always. I'm going to calculate.
The video says, "Ever seen a girl throw 100 miles per hour?"
Real speed.
Ever seen a girl throw 100 miles per hour?
People saying it's not 100 miles per hour, but have no way of proving
Not
it.
100 miles an hour.
On the location where you recorded this video. I don't want to say where it is, so I'm just going to show this house in the background with the bushes in front of it. And this red tree right here. When you look at the horizontal position formula was the initial velocity times the cosine of the angle you threw the ball times time. The vertical position formula was the same with the sine of the angle minus 0.5 times gravity times t squared. If you put y equals equals to 0, we can calculate your initial velocity to be gt divided by 2 times the sine of theta. I looked up the metadata of the video recorded and it was 30 frames per second. And I counted the total of 77 frames where your toss was in the air, which is about 2.57 seconds. I also estimated the angle you threw the ball based on other objects in the video to be about 60 degrees. This means by doing some simple math, we can solve for the distance between you and your wife by plugging in initial velocity. It's gt squared divided by 2 times the cotangent of theta, or 18.6 meters. I'm being generous. I triangulated it based on your location and it was less than that. Now in your wife's case, I couldn't put the throw angle, so let's get rid of it. With the same formulas we solve for cosine and sine, and then use trigonometry, sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1 to solve for Earth throw's initial velocity, which is this formula. Her throw was 21 frames, which is 0.7 seconds, which means we can calculate her throw's initial velocity to be 26.8 meters per second, or 60 miles per hour. You all love to calculate when it doesn't matter, so let's calculate it. We can model quadratic drag, which turns the motion into a system of nonlinear ODEs. K is drag coefficient times area, air density, which I calculated from their location, divided by 2 times the mass of the ball. We then solved this using Python. With air resistance, her throw speed was 61 miles per hour, which I think is very impressive. Well, let's be real. It's not 100. I'm going to calculate.
It is here. Did you ever watch like the game theory stuff on the Legend of Zelda games?
Wait. I think so.
So
Well, those
there's
people who
this-
did like crazy amazing stuff on those.
Well, no, there was this crazy one where they talk about Link's hook shot, right? In Ocarina of Time.
Oh,
You
yeah.
play that game, right? So, they so they had to start off by calculating Link's height, and there's an area by Lake Hylia that has actual like measurements in meters, and you can stand next to it and you find out that Link's like 5'2" or something like that. And then based on that, they calculate the distance, they calculate the length of the hook shot itself, and then they go with basically like the lightest metal that they possibly could to put into that hook, and the hook shot itself would weigh like 90 pounds or something. And then they calculate the amount of force that it would take to shoot the hook shot as fast as it would go, which they somehow also calculated, and that would totally just dislocate your shoulder.
That's awesome.
And then as soon as it pulls you basically from 0 to that speed immediately, and it would rip your arm out of its socket again. But if it didn't, going from that speed, like going from a standstill to that speed would be enough G's to make you go blind, like just instantaneously to that speed. And it would basically kill you to fire the hook shot, let alone be pulled to something. And that's just what this reminded me of.
I need to see those videos. They're called Game Theory or something.
I think it was Game Theory that did that, but I don't remember.
Here, I hope Nathan Bigler's still watching, because there's a video about him. And, hold on a second.
Liberals can't dream of a better world, so they burnt out liberals. Burnt out liberals can't dream of a better world, so they dream about being correct in this one. Structurally powerless, but unwilling to bend to nihilism, they take the blue pill instead of the black one, crushing it into a powder to snort it up their nose, so the buzz hits them quick enough to write a Substack about how representation in Marvel movies matters, dismantling capitalism, before posting it on an iPhone that was made by child slaves in a third world labor camp that lacks clean water. When we all became customers, society told us to go to the shopping center. Identity was no longer about what you made or where you came from, but what you shopped for and what it signaled. Collective action became replaced with group therapy. Material well-being became manifestation. And we all tried to heal ourselves, by ourselves, alone together, and called it community. Politics became your favorite sports team. The comments became the comments. And we no longer had to find ourselves. Just pretend that the search party stopped looking. We're so boho and be here now, comfort eating on the edge of the apocalypse, wondering if the origami in our delivery order is given cultural appropriation. Burnt out liberals can no longer hold power to account, but someone must be held accountable, so they start eating each other. Because accepting the fact that they're just puppets of the culture war, performing morality in a theater with no exits, is too difficult to digest. They've just started keto, so they're not hungry for change. They're desperate for cheese and something quick they can stick in the air fryer while they listen to the rest is politics. Burnt out liberals think they're radical because they make the right noises with their mouths. Alienated from power, they can only operate on the level of language and symbols. Disillusioned and disconnected, even morality has a 280 character limit.
Who uses these people to stand there for him?
Watching some of
Hope
those people try not to laugh is pretty great.
has become replaced with hot takes and holding space. Stuck in a language loop, their dreams become vague and distant, and even when they do the right thing and speak out against injustice, they become trapped in a never-ending circulation of discourse, absorbed into the market with no real risk or a place to go. They know they'll never storm a building or rock the global supply chain, but they can call out a microaggression in the workplace and try to get other leftists cancelled that they basically agree with. The path to centrism is paved with good intentions and flooded mentions in their Twitter inbox after doxing a socialist for being critical of Beyonce. Structural inequality can't be solved by casting directors, brand collabs, or saying late-stage capitalism over and over like you understand what it means. When you try to dismantle a system you're complicit in, you just dress the oppression up in ethical chains. Real change is painful and slow. It'll take more than an Instagram story or post. But power is where the attention goes, and we're getting more distracted by the second, weaving through fields of desire and depression. With morality as exhibition art, we're stuck watching the world burn and arguing over who gets to hold the hose.
Man, so that whole thing was fucking perfect, but that line really got me. What is it? Real change can't come from repeating late stage capitalism over and over without understanding what it even means. I've had so many friends do that. And anytime there's some cringe, like I'll complain about the ads like I did earlier in this, and they'll be like, well, late stage capitalism. Shut the fuck up.
I think it's funny just to not so there was this video here. I might have shown it to you earlier, but where's the volume on it? Shador Sanders, which I think this is kind of funny because the Cowboys documentary on Netflix just came out of his dad. And this guy just made the NFL. Remember, everybody said it was racist that he dropped. He dropped drinking in the NFL.
The NFL definitely discriminates against black people.
Go watch that Cowboys documentary. It's called like America's Team. There is a whole episode about how the entire police force of Dallas helped that entire team get out of every possible charge and ticket and everything that they could have had. And they had bad and nasty and wild ones for years until it finally caught up to them because they did stuff that was so terrible they couldn't get away with it anymore. And his daddy was there, not only there, but he was getting paid $45 million. But you want to know what one of the tricks of Deion Sanders' dad is? Deion Sanders' dad was a fake party boy. Deion Sanders put on a show that he was that party boy because he was trying to like make his position, which wasn't a sexy position at the time, sexy so it could get money. And they even talk about in that documentary that the reason he was as good as he was is because he was not that. He stayed home and he studied the field and he studied the game and was totally the student of the game and was never once the type of a party boy he pretended to be to try to get action and attention. And I could show well, let me show you this first. This is so weird.
Place than I even thought that it was. The takes are wild. The Shador takes are crazy out there.
They think that the offensive line is racist. They think Stefanski's racist. Let's see. I bookmarked a few of these. Yeah, Kevin Stefanski is the clearest example of what systemic racism actually looks like. That's quite a take.
Yeah, there's probably a couple better examples you could use.
Yeah, and also Shador. I mean, it appears to me, this is from our guy Robert Little. It appears to me Coach didn't want Shador to go win the game because he didn't want to hear all the convo about Shador leading a great 2-minute drill. Now who knows if he would have or not, but Coach didn't want to take that chance. One of the last memory of him was looking bad, so when they bury him, it would look justified. That's shady and untrustworthy behavior, so they should let him.
It's such bullcrap. Like people are like,
this would have to be a very principled racist, like so racist that like this guy is gonna make my team win and make me a shit ton of money, but I really hate black people because I feel like most racists. Like a guy that really actually legitimately hates black people like the fucking, I don't know, like the KKK president, if he owned an NFL team, there's a 0% chance he would discriminate against black people. he'd be like, well, I hate the blacks, but goddamn, they can play ball, so they're gonna make me money. I'll make money off them. You imagine how principled you would have to be like, well, okay, like, listen, here's the thing, Mr. Owner of the Dallas Cowboys. We're looking at your stocks here. Your stocks could level out roughly if you pick the white guy. If you pick the black guy, he's way better. He's way better. Your team might even make it to the Super Bowl. And your shares, holy shit, they would increase in value by 600% next year. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm a very principled racist. I really don't like black people, so I'm not going to employ them.
Well, here's
way to stick to your principles, buddy. Like it's kind of shitty that you said that, but like also you're very disciplined.
Well, here's his dad, who got the most lucrative deal in the NFL in 1994 for a black guy from a position that traditionally wasn't known as a sexy position, the corner. The trick is a shutout corner in the NFL goes unnoticed because what it means is nobody throws that direction on that field.
Yeah, so Deion Sanders was a corner?
He was a corner. And when you find all the best corners in the NFL, what it means is they're invisible because nobody throws that way.
I get that. So, but Shedeur Sanders is a
quarterback,
QB, right?
Yeah, he's a quarterback. And it's kind of like ridiculous. I mean, maybe that's like people making arguments for him. I don't know if Shedeur actually makes those arguments, but this is his dad. Like, watch that documentary. He always put on like the primetime, like flashy guy stuff. But the trick to him was he was actually lying that he was like a rapper and a party boy. He was at home studying. They talk about that in that documentary. But this is him to his team as a head coach.
With slides on campus, it's going to be a problem.
Whoa.
If I see you with slides on campus, it's going to be a problem.
Whoa.
If I see you with a hoodie on in class or some headphones on in class, it's going to be a problem. If I see you sitting in the back of the classroom, it's going to be a problem. Do we understand that? No slides. I'm going to send people to campus tomorrow. If I see you with slides on campus.
Is it?
Racist.
Racist. That guy was like making the most. He had a flashy personality, but he was also one of the most disciplined. He was one of the first guys to ever play in the Major League Baseball and football at the same time. He was a shutdown corner. They called him at a Lamborghini speed, and it was because he busted his arse. And yeah, the world was racist in '94 when he and Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith and Dallas were running that town, and the cops were letting Leon Lett and Charles Haley get away with everything they possibly could all over that city. But 30 years later, they're racist. The offensive line is racist to his son. Brett and Heather were just talking about that. Starbase Club says he basically holds his team to BYU trust standards. Yeah, Deion's a stud. He always was a stud. But the Brett and Heather they were talking about that today. They're saying like liberals can be right, but they just always go too far. Like it goes too far of like getting scrupulous about the little things. Like you had to maintain the racist thing and get down to every little thing that could possibly be it. And that's when you start elevating, like we were talking at the start of the show. Now just having a nation is being Hitler. You know what I mean? Now microaggression is the worst racism that ever happened. And
yeah, Starbase Club said, remember the Titans showed people love winning more than they hate other races. Yes, it did. But what showed it better was you just have to Google it. It's a Shane Gillis skit. Just Google Shane Gillis football desegregation. And I think we've showed it on here before, but it just kind of shows how football solved racism more than anything did.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like that same documentary, did you know that Jerry Jones, that famous person who put together that dynasty team with those guys, he's seen in the picture of the Brown University protest of the little girl going to the college. He's one of the white kids in it.
Really?
And then that's the guy paying all the money in the world. It's almost exactly the Shane Gillis skit. He's the one just, by 1994 paying, like when he paid Deion Sanders, like it was something like 40 something. It was like 13 million signing bonus and 35 million in 94 for a corner. It was the most insane deal ever. But I mean, he already was like a super lover of Emmitt Smith and Irvin and all that stuff. He claims that. I didn't know why I was in that picture. I just saw a bunch of people gathering around and I went up to it, and that's why I wasn't part of the mob, which could be true. He was just a kid, you know what I mean? But he's in it. He's in one of those famous pictures. So anyway, that whole thing too is still just more about how everything's getting sloppified.
Indeed.
Slop. Anyway, I don't have very much more to do, and it is time for me to go start walking a Pippi. Although, let me show you one video. Maybe not to watch here, but have you seen this Safe Sleazy video? Oh, and I wanted to talk about how the Commies discovered hypergamy, and I started calling it. It was just every single movie ever is just a class fantasy that you're marrying up in a class. I'm like, you guys discovered hypergamy and you changed it into commie language. Here's the last little one about a little bit more about Nathan Bigler. He's still hanging out.
Nah, I think he just commented once and fucked off.
He doesn't hang out to see more about him and his kind.
Have you seen this guy before? This is Safe Sleazy. You might say, no, that's Curtis Connor, but you would be wrong. This is Safe Sleazy. Safe Sleazy lives in Bushwick, New York. He knows all about underground cultures, and he's established in the Bushwick scene, which is a scene full of all kinds of funny and fantastic characters. He might be the coolest white person that you know. Because he knows so much about different music subcultures. He has a whole rotating cast of friends and enemies, and an impressive knowledge of modular synthesis. Safe Sleazy, obviously, is a male feminist. He runs his own zine. He loves Roberto's designer pizza and casually shops at Mr. Kiwi. Do you know what any of those things mean? Neither do I, but Safe Sleazy loves them. They're staples in the Bushwick scene. He's a proud DJ. He does this because making your own music requires talent. So instead of putting in the effort to make your own music, just use other people's music. He does DJ events with Y2K aesthetics, or he does it for WPRB Princeton. It's a radio station. Safe Sleazy.
These guys are probably too cool for Bigler. Bigler's like a bit of a boomer.
Yeah, and his parents.
Why is that mustache so popular?
Problematic.
It's Safe Sleazy. Go look up the Sleazy verse and watch more of this. I gotta get going. I'll copy it in the thing or put it in the Longhouse.
Is Safe Sleazy a real person?
No, it's just saying Safe Sleazy. Like
Okay,
it's on.
okay.
It had iDubbbz there.
I know. It's iDubbbz. The continual cucking of iDubbbz just gets funnier and funnier.
Oh man, he had a bad one this last week of where he came out just
talking about IBS and his wife talking about how he stinks. Shit like that. What happened this week with him?
Oh, he had like a whole live stream where he was coming out dunking on people about immigration, and his basically just his whole entire thing was just calling people racist if they don't accept immigration. But he made like such a fool out of himself because a bunch of people came in and started arguing and debating with him, and he obviously just didn't know anything about anything. So a bunch of people made different highlight reels of it, like the Lotus Eaters and stuff, just about like, look at this guy trying to argue this. You know what I mean? He's just like, I'm going to come out and talk about how you just accept the immigration, just let them live there. What are they living their lives?
That's
racist. Yeah, it's just basically the most like low tier level of analysis on it.
If all the facial hair I could grow was an iDubbbz style mustache, I would shave all the time. That's like, because like I think people that put too much emphasis on beards are annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that are like, if you can grow a beard, you need to, or like just I don't fucking care. But those mustaches, oh my god.
Those mustaches are good. I like a big awesome beard. I have no problem with big beard dudes.
I don't have a problem with beards, obviously. I'm just like there's a weird culture. There's a weird culture around beards that like people like make a big deal when they have to shave their beard. Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
live streaming myself shaving my beard. Is everybody sad? Like, no, I don't care if you shave your beard, but those mustaches, the iDubbbz mustaches, are so fucking gay.
Yeah, they seem to come out like when the rise of the hipster really hit, which was it was actually huge in the 2010s. I felt like that almost let up a bit, and now it's like all back again. You know,
Christopher's asking what Lotus Eaters is. That's Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin's kind of
Extended
it's
channel.
his version of Daily Wire, basically.
Yeah, he's got an extended channel. I know you've seen it. We've shared a bunch of it
Yeah,
before.
I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah.
Starbase Club said I was into beards when I was 20 and finally could. See, I didn't even know I could grow any amount of beard.
I can.
And it's
I
not
can.
great.
I go
It's-
crazy with it. I don't like it if it starts getting over my lips at all. I go
Oh,
nuts.
see, yeah, it doesn't bug me that much. When it's getting to the point where I need to shave it now, because it'll get into my mouth when I'm eating. Like I'll go to kiss my wife and I'll get one of my own mustache hairs in my mouth. I'm like,
That's why I
"Blech."
can't do it. That's right where I
But,
can't deal with it.
like, I didn't even know I could grow a beard for the longest time because in high school, obviously, I couldn't. I was a twig of a person. I didn't even try. I just, electric shaved once every 3 weeks or so. Then I go on my mission and you have to shave constantly. And then I get home and go to BYU, Idaho. You have to shave constantly. And then right after I leave BYU, Idaho, I get my first job out at the Idaho Nuclear Laboratories where I have to wear a respirator a lot. So I had to shave like weekly for years. And now my current job, I don't have to shave as much. So finally, when I was like 30, I found out, I can kind of grow a beard,
Yeah. Mine, I think it would grow all right longer. It kind of gets like scraggly and curly, but I just can't.
Mine's
I
a
go
little
nuts.
scraggly. It's kind of patchy. I got some friends with way better beards. My brother-in-law, redhead, grows the thickest fucking beard ever. Very jealous of it. It's good looking.
Well, let's end on some toxic high school boys being toxically masculine, toxic boys. Are you ready for how toxic these boys are? Just a bunch of boys out in front of a high school holding up signs telling boys to kiss their mom as they come with to school.
Oh, my mom used to try to embarrass me doing that. And I would she'd be like, baby, come back and give me a kiss. And she'd say it in like a Southern accent and everything. And it was pretty funny. I was okay, mommy. And I'd do it. And then she's like, it's not fun because it doesn't embarrass you.
Yeah, it's just the high school kids telling the boys to get. Toxic.
Badass.
All righty. Gotta run.
All right.
Run the huckleberry. All righty. Thanks for chilling and hanging. We solved it. We solved it now. It's all
Again, we solve it every time, but it keeps popping back up. But
dang it.
All right, we'll seize you when
All
we
right.
seize you.
All right, later. Bye, buddy.